They were twin brothers, but they lived completely different lives. The older brother, Baek Dok-kyung, was the CEO of a billion-dollar company, casually opening a bottle of wine. That was worth hundreds of millions, while his younger brother, Baek Lee-soo, was just a lowly garbage collector. He was even given a hard time just for trying to enter a restaurant. Luckily, his brother showed up just in time to help him out. Turns out his older brother had called to meet up since they hadn't been in touch for a while, but Lee-soo turned him down, saying he was busy cleaning up trash. Dok-kyung on his end thought, it's just cleaning up trash. What's the big deal about taking one day off to see your brother? But in reality, the trash Lee-soo was talking about were the bodies of the special agents his squad had just killed. It turns out his true identity was that of a squad leader, a secret agent for the Northern Operations Unit with 4 years of experience and 12 infiltration missions into North Korea. But suddenly another sound cut through. His phone call was cut short when an assailant snuck in and seriously wounded the rookie. To deal with this quickly, he reluctantly agreed to his brother's meeting. The moment he hung up, the guy charged at him. After dodging, he immediately slammed an elbow straight into his mouth. Following up, he delivered a devastating punch that knocked him out instantly. With that handled, he calmly instructed, treat the rookie's wounds and clean this place up. I have an appointment, so I'm leaving first. Cut to the restaurant where the opening scene of our story took place. Not long after they started eating, Dok-kyung made his request. He wanted Lee-soo to move in with him and join his company. But Baek Lee-soo immediately refused, saying he was perfectly happy with his current job. In the middle of their conversation, his phone suddenly rang. Seeing the blocked number on the screen, he knew something was wrong, so he excused himself to go to the restroom. He answered the phone and a trembling voice came from the other end. Captain, our entire team has been given a backout order. We're all going to be eliminated. Hearing this, Lee-soo's expression changed instantly. Rewind a few minutes. After he left, the team was celebrating as usual. While everyone was chatting with each other, 6 cars pulled up. Manager Jiang stepped out of one of them with a smile on his face. He said he had a gift for everyone. Then he put his hand in his coat pocket and bang! A single shot made the rookie collapse instantly. The moment the gunshot rang out, countless heavily armed Special Forces soldiers emerged. I hereby declare the Special Ops team disbanded. The backout order to eliminate the entire team begins now. Thanks for all your hard work. Back to the present, the voice on the phone continued. We were too careless this time. That manager Jiang sold us all out. Lee-soo immediately told him to stop talking, saying he would come back to save everyone right away. But then it seemed the person on the other end was discovered. The last words he heard were, run, they're on their way to you. Please note, this video is a fictional comic work. All plot points, images, and characters are not real. It does not encourage or condone any negative behavior. Disclaimer. This video is a fictional comic/manga. All characters, events, and visuals are entirely fictional. This content does not promote or encourage any form of real-life violence or harmful behavior. Dok-kyung had dozed off while waiting for his brother, but when he looked up, he saw a group of armed men standing in front of him. One of them pulled out a dagger. Meanwhile, Lee-soo was running as fast as he could back to his brother, his face dark with fear. But Lee-soo was blocked on his way. Over there, someone gave the order. Confirmed target is Baek Lee-soo. Eliminate him. They all charged at him with knives. Lee-soo reacted quickly, parrying the blow. He easily threw one of them to the ground. Lee-soo struck out, and another man fell, blood spraying everywhere. He weaved through them nimbly. Lee-soo grabbed his leg and took him down. The man fell flat on his back, his eyes wide with fear. He held the knife looking at him when suddenly blood splattered onto Lee-soo's face. He let the man go. Lee-soo examined the knife. The blade's trajectory is too straight. He took off his jacket, raised the knife, and challenged them. Come on. They all rushed him at once. 2 knives clashed. He was faster slitting one of their throats. Lee-soo had to take on 4 or 5 of them by himself. Unfortunately, he took a hit to his arm. Elsewhere, a man approached and reported the site has been cleared. Jiang asked calmly, what's the situation with Baek Lee-soo? The other man looked at his watch. Squad 1 of the new Special Ops team is engaging now. We should have a report soon. He took out his cigarette, feeling that Squad 1 wasn't enough. He took out a knife. Jiang ordered, send in another squad. He gave the order, kill them all, leave no witnesses. Lee-soo was worried. His glasses fell into a pool of blood. He spoke up, I just have one question. Dok-kyung easily grabbed him by the collar. On a beautiful day like this, where the hell are your families? He brought the knife closer. Are they at work? Blood splattered on his face. Dok-kyung felt a bit regretful. If I kill him now, I won't get an answer. A voice came from somewhere. Target! He quickly noticed it. What's this? The device continued to report Baek Lee detected. He looked at it curiously. Do gangsters use these things nowadays? The man tried to continue speaking. Target. The device continued. Baek Lee-soo detected. Eliminate immediately. I repeat. Dok-kyung took a handkerchief to wipe off the blood. The device kept repeating the order, Baek Lee-soo. Detected. Eliminate immediately. Dok-kyung's face turned terrifying. Who did you say to kill? Dr. Baek Lee-soo, CEO of the financial group, boss of the Taizan organization. After dealing with the last man, Lee-soo rushed back to the dining room. Seeing the bloodstains on the wall, he froze for a moment, then called up, Brother! Dok-kyung was sitting there, head down, and answered calmly, I'm fine. He pushed his messy hair back and slowly asked Lee-soo, Are all of these your guests? On the floor, assassins lay defeated on both sides. The dagger in Dok-kyung's hand was still dripping with blood. The two brothers quickly got into a car and left. After his younger brother explained everything, Do-kyung held his head and exclaimed, "So that's what happened." Jin-young drove with a blank expression. Do-kyung was completely confused. Hi. Jin-young glanced in the rearview mirror and saw Do-kyung, hair disheveled, pulling at it in frustration. What did you say it was again? Jin-young raised a hand and replied, "It's HD. If that's too hard to remember, you can just call it intelligence." Do-kyung took a rubber band from his wrist, his mouth forming a soft "oh." Right, intelligence. As he tied his hair back, he asked, "So you're not a regular soldier, but an intelligence agent? What's wrong?" "So you're stopping North Koreans and even killing people." It was only then that Lee-soo realized his brother wasn't just some ordinary thug. He was the boss of the Taesung group, a major gang in Seoul. Do-kyung sighed. "Unbelievable. And because we're twins, I thought you were living a good life." Suddenly Lee-soo said, "Let me out here." Do-kyung exclaimed, Why get out here all of a sudden?" Lee-soo explained, "You saw those guys just now. If you stay with me, you'll be in danger too. They'll hunt me until I'm dead." Seeing his younger brother worry about him like that, Do-kyung exclaimed, "Aigu. Yeah, I'm so scared. Get out over there." "No. Get out in front of the police station. It'll make it easier for them to find you." Hearing these sarcastic words, Lee-soo said in a serious tone, "Brother, I'm being serious. This is no joke." Do-kyung, sulking, didn't even turn around. He looked out of the window and said, "We're here. Get out." The car door opened and Do-kyung got out. Knowing he had heard his brother, Lee-soo quickly asked, "Brother, I get it now. What should I do now?" Do-kyung said in a low voice, "Lee-soo, scene change." The funeral director was busy arranging everything. 2 large wreaths were displayed at the entrance, and many men in black suits stood guard in front of the funeral home. Vehicles and security forces were ready. Do-kyung put his hands on his hips, looked at his younger brother, and asked, "Do I look like I'm joking?" Lee-soo was a little stunned. All of this had his brother planned it all in advance. Assistant manager Suna approached Do-kyung. The woman asked politely, "Director, you've arrived." He replied, "Yes, I just got here. I've prepared everything as you instructed, Director. Everything is expected to be completed within the next 2 hours." With that, Suna handed him a funeral portrait. Do-kyung looked at it for a moment and said, "Lee-soo, you have to die for all of this to end." Hearing this, he felt a little confused. Do-kyung said in a serious voice, "That's why I'm going to let you die." Lee-soo was momentarily shocked. The funeral portrait of Lee was placed solemnly on a bed of white chrysanthemums at the altar. Do-kyung explained, "This is an act. I learned it from the Yakuza back in the day. I heard they used this method to get out of the game. To go straight or change their identity." Lee-soo was a bit skeptical. "Will they believe it?" Do-kyung asserted, "Of course they'll be suspicious, but what's most important right now is that my Taesung group is an organization that knows more than you think. But if my little brother dies, the little brother of Do-kyung, the boss of the Taesung group, high-ranking people will come to pay their respects and become witnesses." He was certain. Suspicious. No. As long as I believe it, they'll be forced to believe it." The funeral had begun. A large crowd came to pay their respects. Suddenly, a black car honked its horn loudly and drove straight into the courtyard. Kang looked annoyed. He frowned and asked, "What's this? Are you guys here for a free meal? Why are you still in the car when people of higher status have all gotten out?" This was the car of Manager Kang's men. He was looking at the file on the Byuk brothers. Manager Kang stared at the file, muttering, "Wait a minute, twin brothers?" He stared at Do-kyung's photo. "And it says something about moving house. Just a thug, huh?" Kang peered inside. He banged hard on the car window, shouting, "The windows are tinted. I can't see a thing. Hey, you old man. This isn't a place where you can just park wherever you want." Manager Kang instructed his subordinates, "This is the final mission before we go to war. Is Lee-soo really dead or not? Open the coffin and confirm it." Yang-ho was the one to carry out this mission. He pulled his black baseball cap down a little and got out of the car. Kang looked at Yang-ho's cold face and work uniform, then jutted out his chin and asked, "What's this? Why are you wearing those cheap clothes to a place like this?" Seeing that he didn't answer, Kang poked the brim of his cap with his finger and said in a ready tone, "Did you come here to take a walk? Are you mute, you son of a bitch?" Yang-ho didn't say much. He just punched Kang straight in the face, muttering, "Move the car somewhere else." His face was completely expressionless. Kang collapsed to the ground. The entire Taesung group was stunned. Someone's here to crash the party. Jong-yun roared, "This son of a bitch!" He and his men charged in to settle the score. A member of the HID showed no fear as 2 men rushed him at once. One of them threw a direct punch at Jong-hyun. Then he locked him in a chokehold and squeezed tight. In just a moment, Jong-hyun's face turned bright red. He let out a few gurgles and stopped breathing. The other man had also finished off his opponent. These were members of the HID's Northern Operations Special Task Force Assassination Team, Number 2. Hana Do-kyung and Jin-young stood above looking down, seeing that their opponents seemed tough. Jin-young had to step in to quell the chaos. He unbuttoned his suit jacket, took it off, and slowly walked down. Jin-young's tall frame and long strides covered several stairs in a single step. He walked up to Yang-ho, looked him straight in the face, and said in a stern voice, "This wake is only for those who have received an invitation." Yang-ho tilted his head up slightly. Staring at the other man with a deadpan expression, Jin-young continued politely, "Therefore, please stop." But before he could finish his sentence, the uninvited guest or landed a powerful uppercut to his jaw. The blow had no effect on Jin Young. His voice remained steady as he finished, and turn around and leave if you would. This calm man is the captain of the security team for PS Financial Group, a subsidiary of the Taizan Association, Ha Jin Young of Hanam Ward, nicknamed the Immovable Yaksha. At this point, there was no need to be polite anymore. Jin Young's hand shot out, grabbing the man's chin and squeezing it tightly, then lifting him completely off his feet. The whole group was horrified. What the hell is that? He slammed him to the ground, his hand locking him in place and forcing him to his knees. You could see the agony in Young Ho's eyes. He slowly rolled up his sleeve. The other man couldn't move, letting out a few muffled groans. Jin Young squeezed harder, and the sound of cracking bone echoed out. Young Ho collapsed to the ground lifeless. The remaining men were terrified. He crushed his jaw with his bare hands, one of them screamed. You uneducated punk, don't be careless. Everyone attack him at once. Jin Young didn't flinch. As fast as lightning, his large body slipped between two opponents. He grabbed one man's face, holding him tight. The other man cursed, "This son of a bitch," and punched him square in the face. The punch reddened Jin Young's cheek, but he stood still, not even bothering to count. Emboldened, the man unleashed a flurry of punches, striking Jin Young repeatedly. Go down, you bastard. A moment later, he finally raised his hand and struck him once. The man felt like the sky was falling. He landed face first, flattened on the ground. The other man was still being held by Jin Young, his chin in a vice grip. He took this opportunity, using both hands to grab Jin Young's arm for leverage, and swung his legs up to lock them around his neck, attempting a neck-breaking move. But no matter how much strength he used, he couldn't even make him budge, let alone make him fall. His hands still clamped around the man's neck. Jin Young suddenly lifted him into the air. The man on the ground was just scrambling to his feet, clutching his aching head when his pupils suddenly contracted. Jin Young threw the man straight at him. Their heads collided, and both of them dropped dead on the spot. The troublemakers had been utterly crushed. Manager Jiang sitting in his car, and his face darkened as he watched the scene. This situation was completely unexpected. He clicked his tongue. Tisk! That damn coffin lid. All I have to do is open it. He put on his glasses, muttering, "This punch is completely useless." He opened the car door, stepped out carefully, buttoned his suit jacket, and walked up to Jin Young with a conciliatory expression. My apologies for what just happened. It seems there's been a bit of a misunderstanding. He took out his business card and offered it. Here's my card. I'm the superior of Li Su, the deceased. We only met once on the way here. So that must be what caused the misunderstanding. I have a few words I'd like to say. Jin Young paused for a moment, then glanced up at Do Kyung. He saw Do Kyung give a slight nod. Only then did Jin Young say politely, "Follow me." Manager Jiang replied, yes. He quickly went inside, lit an incense stick, and performed the morning ritual, looking at the portrait surrounded by white chrysanthemums. He thought to himself, Li Su, are you really dead? If so, then, Do Kyung, how much do you know? He bowed to the chief mourner again, and Do Kyung returned the bow. Scene changed one day before the funeral. Li Su had told his older brother everything that had happened. Do Kyung pondered for a moment, then said, that bastard. So that's why he started betraying everyone and caused this mess. Was it all caused by that manager Jiang? Do Kyung took out a cigarette, his mind in turmoil. What should we do? Should you fake your death too? Li Su replied, about that. You don't need to show your face. Do Kyung said, so should I just play along and send him away? No, Li Su answered. Manager Jiang, because I'm going to face him directly under your identity. And so Li Su put on mourning clothes and held a funeral for himself. The moment he faced him, he took out a small dagger and said in a cold voice, Manager Jiang. He turned back. Yes, Li Su suggested, let's you and I have a little talk. He looked at the young man whose eyes were filled with killing intent, a mix of righteousness and profound depth. His hand held a gleaming dagger. A chill ran down his spine. Li Su held the dagger up in front of Manager Jiang and asked, I found this on my younger brother's body. You'd better explain this. Otherwise, your body will be lying here next to my brother's. He pressed the cold blade against his neck. Who killed my brother? Jiang was a little surprised. He thought to himself, who killed him? Could it be that Li Su is really dead? Manager Jiang bowed his head, his voice tinged with sadness. Chief mourner, first, please calm down. The truth is, he passed away while carrying out a mission for the country. He calculated, if that's the case, I just need to fool this thug. Jiang continued his act. However, this involves a national secret, so I can't tell you the details. Li Su punched Manager Jiang hard in the face. He couldn't dodge in time and cried out, Urk! Blood sprayed from his nose. Li Su cursed, damn it, cut the crap. Damn. I asked you who killed my brother. He lunged forward with the knife again. Sensing danger, the man reached into his jacket. Seeing this, Su Ah immediately blocked Li Su. Jin Young also appeared, patting Jiang on the shoulder and saying, Manager Jiang, it would be best for you to leave. Li Su shouted, Hey, get back here. I told you to come back, damn it. Jiang secretly observed the chief mourner's behavior. It seemed to be real. A moment later, Do Kyung, his face purple with rage, was shouting up a storm. Who killed my brother, you bastard? He turned to Sua and asked, how was that believable? The girl took his hand, adjusting his shoulder and right arm. Like this. Li Su exclaimed, what are you two doing? Do Kyung, holding a teacup, sat down on the sofa and said, wow, great acting. Do intelligence agents learn how to act too? It's for like disguise and infiltration. Lee Soo lowered his head and sighed. Anyway, this bought us some time. He'll definitely be back. Dokyung suggested, let's tail him. I'll have someone plan a tracker on him. In any case, you should at least try going inside. I'll always welcome you with open arms. Lee Soo slung his bag over his shoulder and stood up. Either way, I can't hide here forever. Seeing this, Dokyung quickly called out, Where are you going, you punk? He stopped and slowly answered, You asked me if I was acting at the funeral. I wasn't acting. I really intended to kill him, Atkish. Dokyung questioned. Is that why you're here? Are you planning to go there and take him on one-on-one? He stood up, put an arm around his younger brother's shoulder, and tried to persuade him. I know what you're going to say. I get it. But please don't do anything. Can't you just stay here with me? You're still alive. So stay and work with me. Lee Soo asked back, You want me to live here and be a gangster with you? Dokyung understood what his brother meant. He replied calmly, Yeah, that's right, a gangster. In the end, you and I, we both do dirty work. We're the same. Lee Soo gently pushed his brother's hand away and walked off quickly. Dokyung called after him, Hey, back Lee Soo. He clutched his head and groaned, Damn it, he's too stupid to be my twin brother. Now Jin Young, take the boys and follow him, just in case he causes trouble. Lee Soo went out into the street and stood at an intersection. He quickly noticed someone was tailing him. He saw Jin Young standing on the other side. Lee Soo lightly tapped his forehead with his fist and asked, Are you just going to keep following me like this? He answered honestly, Yes, it's an order from the director. Down on the street, 9 cars were blocking the way. Not far off, someone was watching in secret. The information was immediately relayed to a superior. Section Chief Kang, standing at the airport, listened and then gave an order. Is that so? Continue surveillance? He hung up, recalling what happened earlier. That expression? He clearly identified me as the killer. It seems Baek Dokyung knows something. If that's the case, then... Suddenly a dark figure appeared right behind him. He gestured and whispered, Shh, don't turn around. The stranger put an arm around Section Chief Kang's shoulder. If you want your daughter to return safely... Hearing this, his hand trembled slightly. What do you want? I already did what you said. Now my daughter. The thing I want. The other person suddenly grabbed Section Chief Kang tightly by the neck. Before he could figure out what the assailant was doing, there was a sudden cheerful shout. Dad! Mina playfully jumped onto his back, hugging Section Chief Kang tightly. He was overjoyed. My daughter is back. Mr. Ho pulled the suitcase along, asking, as he walked, You're here. Was it a tiring day? Mina replied, Of course it was tiring. The seats were hard and there was no legroom at all. He smiled affectionately. I'm sorry, sweetie. Next time, Dad will pick a better seat for you. The girl hugged her dad tightly, her voice as sweet as honey. Most of all, I was tired because I missed you, Dad. Section Chief Kang exclaimed, Oh my! Well, the next time Dad will just point at the plane and make it fly faster. Mina looked surprised. Wow, that's my dad. Is that the power of an intelligence agent? He laughed out loud. Ha ha ha, Dad just does office work. I just organize documents and things like that. The little girl asked, puzzled, What, so you don't get into fights? Section Chief Kang affirmed, Ha ha, never. Dokyung clenched an empty cigarette pack in his hand. He looked around and said, They're all gone, huh? Buy me a pack of cigarettes. Sua replied respectfully, Then I'll send someone downstairs to do it. I have to stay here with you. Dokyung cried out, Hey, give me a break. Let me get some air. It's like being imprisoned in here, the girl said in a serious tone. No. Section Chief Ha has already taken people to protect your brother. You're the only one here, Director. It will be very dangerous if you go out. He sat down on the arm of the sofa. So I can't go anywhere without a bodyguard. Suha replied respectfully, Yes, in any case, you cannot be alone. An idea flashed in Dokyung's mind. All right then, let's do this. The elevator descended to the 57th floor. Dokyung stood in the elevator holding Suha's hand tightly. 2 men in black suits stood right behind them. He suddenly asked her, Could you buy me a pack of cigarettes? The girl hesitated and replied, I'll buy them. Dokyung turned to the 2 men behind them and said, This is your big sister. Greet her. Sua bowed her head, stammering, Stop it. The man behind him quickly greeted loudly, Hello, ma'am. Dokyung immediately sensed something was off. He put an arm around the guy's shoulder and asked, Our boss is getting more beautiful every day, isn't she? He immediately replied, Yes, that's right. You look very beautiful today too, boss. He nodded. That's right. But everyone calls Suha ma'am, don't they? Dokyung's voice turned cold. Who are you? One of Manager Jiang's men. The guy tried to remain calm. What are you talking about? Then he suddenly pulled out a knife and slashed viciously. Dokyung instinctively leaned back, dodging the blow. He yelled, Suha! Do you have another knife? I forgot mine. A girl stood defensively holding a short knife. Yes, in my skirt. The 2 assassins took their stances. Dokyung sighed, reached for her thigh to get a knife and said politely, Excuse me. The guy with the buzz cut lunged, shouting, Ha! As he stabbed straight at Dokyung. His strike was incredibly fast. Dokyung leaned aside, dodging the blow, and immediately slashed the man's side. Dokyung said, Well, look at this. You're wearing some good gear. The buzz cut guy turned to strike again, cursing, Damn it, his knife is so sharp it cut right through my body armor. Dokyung lunged forward, slamming him against the wall. Meanwhile, Suha was being overpowered by her opponent and was slumped on the floor. Dokyung yelled, Suha! The man raised his knife to stab her. Dokyung shot forward and the blade plunged into his shoulder. He asked calmly, Suha, are you all right? It's been a while since I've been stabbed, huh? He thought to himself. These bastards are deliberately targeting Suha. If this keeps up, she's going to be in real danger. Dokyung immediately struck back. He slashed directly at the man's knife hand. The guy let out a single scream and collapsed. The buzzcut man went for Suha again, but Dokyung instantly moved to block him with a slash. The other guy saw the dagger on the floor and reached for it, but Suha quickly kicked it across the room. Then she brought her knife down, finishing her opponent. Dokyung knocked the dagger from the last man's hand, but he immediately pulled another one from his back and quickly struck back. Dokyung grabbed his wrist. He roared, "Come here! I'm welcoming you dogs with open arms." 2 blades slowly sank into the man in the vest. He was powerless to stop the arm that felt like a steel clamp. He cried out, "Wait, wait!" The elevator chimed. The 2 men standing guard below turned around. Dokyung opened the door and said, "Are you guys slacking off? You didn't notice anything strange in the elevator?" Seeing the blood, the subordinate panicked. Directed at Dokyung stopped him. "It's fine. You got a smoke? Damn, it's a real pain just to get a cigarette." The man reached into his jacket. "Right here, sir." When the man pulled out a dagger, Dokyung froze for an instant. Suha was stunned. Dokyung quickly grabbed the man's face and squeezed hard. "Damn it, I said a cigarette. This thing is too big. It's weighing me down." He gripped the dagger, stabbing it back into the man while his other hand pulled down his mask. The assassin said, "Director, don't pull it out. I prepared that big one especially for you." Dokyung struck out with a powerful blow. The man leaped back a few steps to dodge it, quickly pulling out a switchblade and twirling it. His face was completely devoid of fear. Dokyung remarked, "This one's fast." "Hey, forget the cigarette, lend me a knife." One of his men shouted, "Director, I'm still here." "You two get back," he snapped. "I said give it to me." "Don't just charge blindly at him." Dokyung took the knife and gave an order. "Take Suha. Protect her. Now go." The man quickly obeyed. Suha cried out, "Director," he added, "and don't open the door for any strangers. Got it." The elevator doors closed immediately, heading for the 82nd floor. Dokyung stepped forward, a knife in each hand. "So what now? I've already guessed your lucky number. Don't spout any more nonsense." The assassin sneered. "Baek Dokyung, were you always this chatty?" He was a member of the HID Special Task Force, the core of an assassination team with an unknown history. His code name, Jury. "Hey, Mr. Ghost." Dokyung was slightly surprised. "You know my name. Could you be the one who killed my little brother?" He thought to himself, "This wound feels deep. I need to end this fight and fast." Yuri replied, "If I had the chance, I would have loved to." He lunged at Dokyung. "I just have one question for you. That thug, Baek Lisu, is he really dead?" Dokyung asked, "Who are you kidding? You guys were paid a fortune for that job." His tone changed. "Fine, I'll rephrase the question. Where is Baek Lisu?" Dokyung pinned him and cursed, "Son of a bitch. Are your ears full of shit or something? Can't you hear me?" Meanwhile, on the street below, Lisu and Jin-young were walking on the sidewalk. The person tailing them was still close behind when suddenly he saw the two of them duck into a small alley. Afraid of losing his target, he gave chase, but just as he reached the corner, a fist suddenly appeared and slammed right into his face. The scout was sent flying to the side, tumbling to the ground. He thought to himself, "So strong, I think my bones are broken." Lisu asked, "Did Manager Yang send you?" He sat up, clutching his arm with a grunt. The man pulled back his hood and asked, "Did the old man tell you to check if I was alive or dead?" The scout exclaimed, "That's right. Just as I thought, Baek Lisu doesn't die that easily." Lisu was startled. "What did you say? Could it be Lee Cyan?" He pulled back his hood, smiled, and said, "It's been a while, Captain." Jin Young, surprised, asked, "You two know each other?" Cyan replied, "Of course we do." He pointed to his swollen wrist and yelled, "That gorilla uncle over there. What am I supposed to do about this?" "Look at this." Lisu gripped his teammate's shoulder and said, "I'm sorry, Cyan. I should have been there with everyone. I'm the only one who survived." Cyan's voice choked up a bit. "As long as you're alive, that's all that matters." "Me too, and you too, Captain. So from now on, whenever you go out for good food, you have to take me with you. You damn noble." He suddenly shuddered and yelled, "Oh God, I'm getting goosebumps. That's enough. Let go. Why aren't you doing anything, you noble?" Lisu replied, "Right, where are you hurt?" Cyan answered playfully, "Don't even ask. I've got a hole in my stomach. And my arm was broken just now too." He glanced at Jin Young a bit warily. "But he's not a gorilla, so why is he so strong? Still that uncle. Why does he suddenly have that expression?" Jin Young was on the phone. It seemed like something terrible had happened. Back to the fight between Dokyung and Ruri Aeon the Phantom. Swish Dokyung was struck by a knife in the chest. The small knife in Ruri Aeon's hand was fast. He immediately counterattacked, unleashing a continuous stream of fatal blows. Dokyung gave him no openings. He taunted his opponent, Hey, when it counts, you have to fight like this, okay? Come on, come over here." He thought to himself, "The longer this drags on, the worse it gets. My eyes are starting to open." Ruri Aeon said, "Baek Dokyung, Baek Lee-soo's older brother." Dokyung lunged, but he dodged it easily. "Your speed has slowed down." A thin thread glinted in the air. Ruri Aeon quickly wrapped it tightly around his arm. "I have to admit, for a thug like you're pretty good." He brought the knife down, slashing a line across Dokyung's chest. The knife in his hand fell to the ground. Red syrup dripped onto the floor. Ruri Aeon yelled, "I'll ask again. Where is Baek Lee-soo?" Dokyung suddenly tied up his hair. He answered calmly, "Do people often tell you you're not very perceptive?" He stared blankly as Do-kyung chopped off his ponytail. What are you doing? On the floor. The hair fell in a cascade. He held up the lock of hair and asked, do I have to do this for you to understand? I am Baek Lee-soo. Ruri Aeon was completely stunned. What? He looked at him with doubtful eyes. No, it can't be. Do-kyung laughed. Close enough. You really are blind. He charged forward again. I have to take him down, or at least make him believe Lee-soo is dead. Ruri Aeon, while blocking the attack, said, Baek Lee-soo couldn't possibly be this clumsy. Let's end this, you thug. Just as he raised his knife, Do-kyung threw a punch at his side. The wire drew blood from his arm. He growled, that hair was getting in my eyes. Ruri Aeon quickly leaned to one side to dodge the blow. He was momentarily distracted, seizing this opportunity. Do-kyung made a swift slash across his face. Ruri Aeon screamed, ah! He collapsed to the ground, clutching his face and groaning endlessly. Ugh! Ugh! Do-kyung exclaimed, come on, get up and fight. Ruri gritted his teeth and got back up. He roared with anger. You uneducated, ignorant thug, he yelled, attacking again. Do-kyung grabbed his arm, holding the dagger tightly in his hand and repeatedly slashed down. Ruri Aeon was completely bewildered. Could it be like this? Really? Do-kyung's eyes were bloodshot, filled with killing intent. Ruri Aeon was starting to believe that the person in front of him really was Baek Lee-soo. He launched a fierce attack. He muttered incessantly, it can't be. Die, just like that. Do-kyung quickly overpowered him. He grabbed his wrist, turning the dagger back towards Ruri Aeon, and stabbed him hard in the shoulder. Ruri Aeon screamed in pain. Ah! Do-kyung followed with a fatal slash to his stomach. Ruri Aeon fell to the floor, his face filled with shock and horror. So this is really Baek Lee-soo. Do-kyung loomed over him and coldly uttered a single word, again. Seeing the ice in his opponent's eyes, he cried out, no, don't come any closer. As Do-kyung raised the dagger, Ruri thought, Baek Lee-soo. Yes, that's him. With his last bit of strength, Ruri Aeon made a weak counter and stabbed Do-kyung in the shoulder. Exhausted, Do-kyung collapsed the tip of his dagger, hitting the floor. It landed just inches from Ruri Aeon's neck. Seeing that his opponent was motionless on top of him, Ruri Aeon called out, Baek Lee-soo. He pushed him off and tried to crawl away. Just then a car pulled up outside. Lee-soo jumped out and rushed straight into the room. He ran to Do-kyung's side, shouting, Brother, please, Lee-soo saw the wounds on Do-kyung's body. His face went pale, his voice trembling. Please, brother. Meanwhile, Ruri Aeon had slipped away to the stairwell. As he ran, he pulled out a small notebook, muttering, Baek Lee-soo, Baek Lee-soo, Baek Lee-soo, Baek Lee-soo. I killed you. Ruri Aeon raised his bloody finger and drew a line through an entry in his notebook. The one I killed Baek Lee-soo. Lee-soo hugged his brother, crying uncontrollably. He had never felt such anguish in his life. In a large room, Sua said to Jin Young, we can't let this continue. It's not just the General Assembly. Other regional organizations have also noticed Director Baek Do-kyung's absence. At this point, we must choose a new representative. Manager Jin Young stood up and replied sternly, Tae-san, without Baek Do-kyung, is no longer Tae-san. Worried, Sua asked, so are we just supposed to watch the organization fall apart? How did Director Baek end up like this? You need to stay calm and lead Tae-san in his place. He wouldn't want to see it collapse like this. Jin Young cut her off. That's enough. His eyes welled up with tears. His voice filled with anguish. Don't you get it? There's no one else like him. No one can ever replace Baek Do-kyung in Tae-san. Elsewhere, Sain rushed after Lee-soo, shouting, Captain. Captain, wait. He blocked his path, asking, where are you going? Lee-soo replied coldly, my brother's wounds were inflicted by a trained professional. It has to be someone from the Special Forces acting on Manager Jiang's orders. Most of the Special Forces under Manager Jiang are undercover on a mission up north, just like us. If we can find them, we'll have a lead on Manager Jiang. Sain was flustered. I know, but what are we supposed to do now? He answered bluntly, Manager Jiang. He's the one who did this to my brother. Tears streamed down Lee-soo's face. We find them, and we kill them all, just like they did to our unit. Pangyo Techno Valley and Industrial Complex. In Pangyo City, Seongnam, South Korea, dubbed Korea's Silicon Valley, a man peeling a pear commented, I hate Pangyo. There's nowhere good to eat around here. Am I right? He is Kim Chun, chairman of Ilchul 1. He stood up and sighed. This place is full of guys in suits. There's no real money to be made here. Back in my day, real man had to swim through the rough currents of Seoul. I'm trying to take a seat as one of the 4 major organizations in the General Assembly. Tun, holding the knife, walked to the railing and complained loudly, and yet while I'm doing that, our manager here is just whispering sweet, useless nothings in my ear. Isn't that right? Manager, dangling below the railing, pleaded, sweet nothings, what do you mean? What else am I supposed to say? Tun casually cut a rope. This pear isn't ripe yet. I guess I'll just get rid of it. Manager, screamed, chairman, that you're talking about that, aren't you? He blurted out, Tae-san was attacked. A friend in Seoul told me they clashed with an unknown force, and now they've gone completely quiet. On top of that, lately, there's been no sign of Baek Do-kyung, the heart of Tae-san. Hearing this, Tun cut another rope. He asked in a low growl, no sign of Baek Dok-kyung. Is this information reliable? Manager O insisted frantically. It's reliable. I swear he didn't even show up for the General Assembly meeting. Tun asked softly. Is that all? He swore, I've told you everything I know. He chuckled softly. I know. And then he cut the last rope. Manager O's terrified scream echoed from below. Tun Ik-yan gave an order. Gather everyone. Today we're going to devour Taizan. Manager Olay sprawled beneath the balcony gasping for air. I'm not dead. Meanwhile, at the Majangdong livestock market, Li Su walked through the deserted area. The darkest place is under the candlestick. If you hide something in an obvious spot, no one thinks to look there. You hide in the last place anyone would look. That's Manager Jiang's style. These bastards were trained by him too. If I'm careless, I'll walk right into a trap. Gripping his dagger in one hand, he opened a door with the other. The moment he looked inside, Li Su froze. The scene inside was horrific. A whole group of men had been slaughtered. A bald man sitting on the floor asked, Who are you? Your target isn't Baek Li. Su, is it? The moment he saw his face, he cried out, You're still alive. He was badly injured, but still spoke casually. Hey, clean up that mess. Even if it wasn't you, I was going to die anyway. Li Su was a bit stunned. What do you mean? The bald man sighed. What else? It was Manager Jiang, that bastard. He gathered everyone together and then attacked. Everyone was shot full of holes like a sieve. They used some kind of radio device. The other companies have been cleaned out too. The other places are probably the same. He grabbed onto him tightly, his voice growing weak. Li, Baek Li Su. Baek Li Su. He quickly stopped him. Don't say any more. But the bald man tried to persuade him. Right now, you're not strong enough to touch Manager Jiang. That's not an organization you can handle on your own. You have to run. Survive. Just run. After saying that, he collapsed, showing no more signs of life. Li Su mumbled, an organization. At that moment, at the Taizan headquarters, Kim Chun was deploying his attack plan. Inside Taizan, he looked at the corpses scattered across the floor and said, An organization like this? What a disappointment. One of the 4 major organizations under the Taizan General Association. And this is all you've got. From the other side, Hajin Yong, the immovable yaksha, appeared, dragging 2 thugs by their collars. He spoke coldly. You're the 4th group. He threw them to the ground. I don't know what you guys heard, or from where this week. But you're the 4th bunch of punks who've dared to show up here. Chun scoffed. Punks? He pulled a dagger from his coat. I was planning on being humble when I dealt with you, but since you put it that way, yeah, I'll have to play for real. His underlings immediately surrounded their opponent. Jin Yong let out a sigh. I'm getting a little tired of this. So all of you can come at me at once. Just then, a young man pushed through the crowd. Move! They asked in surprise. What's this, a Taizan guy? You got a death wish or something? Jin Yong looked at him and said, What is it, Baek Li Su? He replied softly. To get revenge for him, I need an organization. I can't do it alone. So give Taizan to me. Jin Yong exclaimed, Give Taizan to you. Seeing this, Chun strode forward aggressively. Hey, what kind of drama are you two putting on? He pointed the dagger at Li Su's face, threatening, You're not the only ones with business here. You need to learn to wait your turn. Before he could finish his sentence, a powerful punch landed squarely on his face. Chun clutched his bleeding nose, cursing, Son of a bitch. It was only then that he got a good look at Li Su's face. Isn't that Baek Dok-kyung? He stumbled back a few steps. But wasn't Baek Dok-kyung gone? His underlings erupted in chaos. What Baek Dok-kyung could it be? Has Baek Dok-kyung returned? Chun shoved 2 of his men forward. What are you doing? There are more of us anyway. All of you attack. The 2 underlings immediately obeyed and charged at their opponent. Die! Li Su gave them no chance. With a single slash, he took down both of them. The ones behind them were terrified. What the hell was that? He's insane. Chun was horrified. What? He immediately shouted, Everyone attack at once? Today is the day Taizan falls. Li Su's eyes were cold as he looked at them. He swung his dagger, delivering fatal blows. Chun screamed, You idiots, get your knives out. But they no longer had hands to draw their knives with. Chun lunged from behind, yelling, Baek Dok-kyung, you think a knife can't pierce you. Clang. The dagger in his hand was knocked into the air before embedding itself in the ground. He was terrified. Baek Dok-kyung. This is Taizan? Chun immediately gave the order, retreat, back to Pangyo. Seeing the enemy retreat, the Taizan underlings cheered with joy. Director Baek, the director is back. Seeing this scene, Jin Yong thought to himself, without Baek Dok-kyung, Taizan can't survive. That's what I thought, but the cheers continued unabated. The director is here to help us, the director. Jin Yong looked at him and asked, You want Taizan, right, Baek Li Su? If you want to have Taizan, then there's only one way. Scene change. In a luxurious room, a group of people sat around a banquet table. Semin said, Baek Dok-kyung hasn't shown up for a month. Tae-hyung cursed, Damn it, the General Association is a joke. I told you that kind of thug wouldn't show up. Juga exclaimed, Sounds interesting, doesn't it? That Baek Dok-kyung is dead. Hae-sang swirled the wine in his glass. If that's true, Taizan is finished. Taizan is Baek Dok-kyung's organization. If you want to have Taisan, there's only one way. Baek Lee-soo, you must become Baek Dok-kyung. A group of people walked down a hallway. They arrived at the meeting room. A hand gently pushed aside the curtain and stepped inside. Lee-soo Jin-yong and Sayon appeared. He sat down with a friendly smile and said, "Hey, everyone, must have been worried about me, huh? What should I do? If I'd known, I would have bought some souvenirs." Lee-soo began to imitate Dok-kyung's mannerisms. He held up a dagger. Suha instructed, "Put your finger behind the blade." Obviously, you need to do that to put more power into it. He wondered, does anyone really pay attention to details like that? She replied in a serious tone, "Someone definitely will. If your opponents are on the board of directors, you need to be more careful." Lee-soo analyzed the most notorious crime boss in Seoul. The board of directors meeting is meant to prevent conflict between gangs and encourage cooperation. But in reality, they're all just waiting for a chance to profit for themselves. Waiting for a conflict to break out. That's why the Taesan group and I are getting involved, right? That's why I told you to be more careful. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is the right choice. Why do we have to protect the Taesan group? Lee-soo places his finger on the spine of the blade. Perfect. I need the Taesan group, a gang for my revenge, one that's stronger than all the others. That's why I need the Taesan group and the board of directors to fulfill my own ambitions. Meanwhile, at a construction site, a group of people were watching from up high. "This must be a big one." Seoul Police Chief Cho Won-ho praised Section Chief Kang. "You did a great job. Your skills are truly admirable," he replied. "It was all thanks to your help, sir." "They're all very good," the police chief emphasized. No. Your skills are what matter most. Is that why all those other guys ended up buried here?" Section Chief Kang looked off into the distance and said slowly, "It was a sacrifice for a brighter future." Won-ho clapped his hands. "Bravo, you truly are a special one." I like that. Is that what they always say? Doing dirty work for a brighter future. The delegates have been worried lately. You can't tell what the people up north are thinking just by looking at their outdated clothes. Of course. I've been under a lot of pressure lately. They keep telling me to do this and that. That's why I've been so swamped. As he said this, Police Chief Cho slid his hand off his shoulder, his voice turning cold. "But why are you trying so hard to piss me off, huh? Is it really that hard to take care of a few pests out there?" Won-ho poked Section Chief Kang in the chest, questioning him. "Why are you creating so many problems for me, huh? Don't you know how many resources I've had to waste cleaning up the messes you've made? And what's this about eliminating the Taesan group and that bastard Baek Dok-kyung? Don't you know how influential the Taesan group is? And do you have any idea what that means?" Kang bowed his head slightly. "I apologize for causing trouble. That's precisely why we came to you, sir. Because all the power belongs to you." Police Chief Cho roared, "My power, you bastard!" Section Chief Kang cut him off. "Hey, Cho Won-ho." He was completely stunned. What Kang Se-ho ripped the badge from his chest. Then he held it up and said, You should know who the real boss is here. Your role in this is police chief. What we need is a leader, not some puppet like you. Understand?" Section Chief Kang threw the badge onto the dirt and threatened. "There are countless people who can replace you. If you don't like your role, then get lost." A bodyguard grabbed Kang Se-ho by the collar. "This guy's got some nerve, huh? Is the police chief your buddy, you disrespectful punk?" Police Chief Cho smirked. "This guy, how dare he throw away my badge? Are you going to go get it back for me?" The words had barely left his mouth when Section Chief Kang slammed the bodyguard to the ground. The guy cried out, "GHK," before he could even react. Kang Se-ho followed up with a kick that left him flat on the ground. Won-ho's men froze. What the hell? A cold gun barrel was pointed straight at the police chief's head. Section Chief Kang asked, "Should I bury you along with him?" Won-ho quickly dropped to his knees, putting his hands up in surrender. Mr. Kang, I was wrong." Kang glared at him. "Sir, I've buried my own men alive before. So what do I need to care?" Police Chief Cho quickly replied, "Sir, I'll take care of it. I know people on the board of directors." He put his gun away and warned, "Get this done without getting your hands dirty." Police Chief Cho Won-ho trembled. "Yes, sir." Suddenly, Kang remembered something. "Oh, hey." Police Chief Cho immediately answered, "Yes." Section Chief Kang said, "Baek Dok-kyung. I want to see him." Scene change. The board of directors meeting was taking place in a luxurious room. 4 people were present with 1 chair still empty. The man in the red vest was Ryu Tae-hyung, director of Gyeorang Resort and chairman of the Yongsan-gu-based Gyeorang. He said loudly that Baek Dok-kyung guy is dead. "I told you, didn't I? I said he wasn't good enough to sit here with us." Sitting next to Tae-hyung was Han Hee-sung, CEO of HHS Entertainment and the boss of the Gangnam area. He raised his wine glass, his tone slightly surprised. He said he was on a business trip. "Why does everyone always freak out whenever Baek Dok-kyung is mentioned, Tae-hyung?" Tae-hyung looked slightly annoyed. "Me. It's not just me. A mad dog with no background whatsoever. And yet, he took over the key area of Hanam-dong. That bastard deserves to die." The only woman among them was Cha Ju-ga, owner of the Jonggung Trading Company, the head of Gurogu, district leader of the Samhap Association, and also the commercial director. She taunted, "You talk as if you want to stab him yourself. You must really hate Baek Dok-kyung, huh?" Tae-hyung clutched his head and yelled, "This bastard is driving me crazy. Is he trying to make me look like the bad guy?" The elegant young man sitting opposite him intervened. "That's enough, Mr. Ryu. The reason we're meeting today is to resolve the tension between us. That was Lee Sengmin, the executive director of Ilhak, the boss of the Dongnogu area, and the boss of the Gudo Nine Swords. Taehyung stubbed out his cigarette on the table, his voice laced with discontent. This Chinese guy, Lee Sengmin, if you keep acting like that, I'm gonna get real uncomfortable with you. You don't deserve to be sitting here. With your current position, you think you deserve a seat at this table. Just because you control one little district. Sangmin slowly replied, Zhonghui was founded by Ilhak, the first chairman. Haesang suddenly cut Sangmin off. Hey, Sangmin, pass the soy sauce. Give me the soy sauce bottle, it's too far. He immediately picked up the soy sauce bottle and handed it to him. Taehyung gave him the middle finger, mocking him. You coward. All right. Whatever. While we're still letting you be here, show a little respect. Just then, Cyan walked inside, looked around, and spoke up. Is this the place? Taehyung jutted his chin out. Who are you? You look like some kind of nightclub hostess. Hearing this, Cyan turned back and said, Sir, we've arrived. With an atmosphere this tense, I'm sure this is the right place. Lee Su silently appeared. Everyone in the room was completely stunned. On the way here, Jin Young had handed him a file with information on Zhonghui. He glanced through it and asked, Are all of these Zhonghui members? Not that many, huh? Jin Young replied, No, sir, but the important part is their connections. Lee Su put the file down. Even if they gather together with good relationships, I'll find their weakness. The only thing we need to do is... He thought to himself, I need to handle this in a way that Baek Dokyung knows how to handle things. Lee Su entered the room, pulled up a chair, and asked the hostess, Were you talking about me? Chajua exclaimed excitedly, Baek, is that really you? You even cut your hair. I almost didn't recognize you. He replied nonchalantly, I was trying to make an impression. And you didn't even recognize me. Taehyung shot him a sideways glance. I thought you died in a ditch somewhere, stabbed by some bastard. Too bad. I thought it wasn't my turn yet. He picked up the chopsticks in front of him and replied softly, Aren't you going to use chopsticks? If you're planning on eating like a dog without any utensils, can I take these? Taehyung gritted his teeth. This son of a bitch. Haesung gently pushed up his glasses. To business, Mr. Beck. While you were away, we had a little chat. He smiled warmly. Oh, really? You guys must have been so worried about me. I should have brought some fruit or something. He said gravely, We heard that your older brother passed away. It must have been difficult. You didn't even contact us, which isn't like you. Taehyung cut in. The funeral was pretty crazy, wasn't it? I heard there was even a knife fight. Juhua agreed. Ah, yes, I was curious about that too. Haesung put down his glass. So that's how it is. There's so much to talk about. To summarize, does Baek Dokyung currently deserve to be here? Lee Su stood up. He asked in a cold voice, If you knew someone was going through a hard time, why didn't you come and help them? But anyway, he took out a dagger, raised it, and slammed it into the table. Who the hell are you to talk about the Taesan Association's qualifications? You think Zhonghui has any authority here? Haesung frowned slightly, his voice trembling a little. How can we possibly accept words like that? Are you trying to make an enemy out of us? Lee Su shouted, I'll be blunt. So listen carefully, this is what the Taesan Association wants. The Taesan Association will not be joining Zhonghui. From now on, you all can do whatever you want. With that said, they all left immediately. The car sped down the road. Cyan curiously fiddled with a device in the car. Jin Young looked in the rearview mirror, saw Lee Su's pensive expression and asked, So Zhonghui is our rival now. Do you have a plan? He looked out the car window and suddenly felt something was wrong. Abruptly, a car blocked their path. Jin Young slammed on the brakes, swerving sharply to the side. The car screeched. Which son of a bitch is it? 3 cars boxed in Lee Su's vehicle. The doors flew open, and Taehyung got out, shouting loudly, Baek Dokyung. After talking all that bullshit at the conference, he ran towards Lee Su's car. Like you said, I'll do whatever I want. With that, he equipped a weapon on his hand and threw a powerful punch, shattering Lee Su's car window, his expression nonchalant, as if nothing had happened. Taehyung stared at him intently and said in a loud voice, In that case, let me be the leader of the Taizan group. This son of a bitch. A little while earlier on the way back, Sion had suddenly blurted out, Captain, no director. If I turn this, does the rearview mirror move? Lee Su replied, That's right. Jin Young reminded him, You're distracting me from driving. Please behave yourself. He saw Lee Su's pensive expression in the rearview mirror and asked, But we've withdrawn from the General Association. Now they'll be our enemy. Will it be okay? Lee Su replied, I'll crush them all under my feet. But first we have to catch the rat in the General Association of Daim. Cyan couldn't hide his surprise. A rat in the General Association? Who is it? Jin Young wondered, Why do you think that? He explained, I said the funeral was chaotic with fighting. If it were just a funeral, the director would have sent an obituary to the General Association. That's nothing special. The fighting that broke out at Taisan had nothing to do with the funeral. Cyan held his head and groaned. That's right, you're right. It's giving me goosebumps. Why am I listening to this and not understanding a thing? Jin Young tightened his grip on the steering wheel. Someone within the General Association. So you already knew what was happening back then? Lisa replied, That's why I've been avoiding the General Association until I find that rat. He asked, a bit curious, Director, how do you plan to find him? Lee Su pondered for a moment. I guess we'll have to find him directly, since we've already stirred up the rat's nest. He'll expose himself on his own, and just as predicted, Taehyung was now standing before him. He smirked and said mockingly, Baek Dok-kyung, get out. Seeing Lee Soo remain seated, he asked again, not getting out, do I have to drag your precious ass out myself? He thought to himself, Taehyung, Taesan and Georang have always had the most friction, a clear hostility between them. This guy is the rat. Sion stuck his head out of the car window and yelled, Hey, I can open the door, you know. Why'd you have to smash the window? This car is expensive. Get your damn paws off it. Did you feed your basic manners to the dogs? Taehyung glanced at him. You're that tout from earlier, aren't you? What did you just say? Explanation for the brothers be key is slang for someone who lures customers on the street. Seon got out of the car, walked towards him, and said, So what are you going to do? This is my first time riding in this car today. And I was in a really good mood. Taehyung chuckled. This guy's asking for a beating, huh? I kind of like you. Other than Baek Do-kyung, you want to come work for me? Sion exclaimed, Oh, so I'd be your boss? In that case, sure. First, let's go to the auto repair shop. The words had barely left his mouth when a punch flew straight at his face. Taehyung, of course, wasn't about to lose a verbal spar. If words failed, he'd use his fists. Sion raised his hand and blocked it. Whoa, look at that habit of yours. Are you a thug or something? He was a little surprised. Oh, you blocked it. Hey, you. I really like you, tout. Suddenly from the other side of the road, several white cars appeared. Taehyung stopped. He looked over and exclaimed, What now? Are we throwing a celebration party right here or something? Seeing someone he knew arrive, Taehyung asked, What is it, Lee Seung-min? The man said softly. Representative Taehyung, let's stop here. Lee Seung-min was the representative of Nichihaku, capital master of the Nine Swords. Taehyung's insolent mouth started running again. Oh my, if young master Lee Seung-min says to stop, then we have to stop. What's wrong? Wasn't that enough for you? You must have been chasing us for a while. We were about to have a party. Does Seung-min want to join too? I wonder if Ilhak even has what it takes anymore. Just then, someone clapped him on the shoulder and cheerfully replied, We have what it takes. Ryu Taehyung, you're all talk. A tall middle-aged man standing behind him gave a friendly smile. I remember not too long ago you were crying about that scar on your back. You've grown up a lot, haven't you? The moment Ryu Taehyung saw this man, he grabbed the man and asked Nine-do Choi Chun-ho, Old man, what the hell are you doing all the way out here? Seeing this scene, Sion, curious, poked his head into the car and asked Jin Young, What's going on? Who's that guy in the white suit? Those two look like they're about to film a soap opera. Can we yell cut? He replied, That's one of the 9 DOs from Ilhak's elite team. I can't believe one of them actually showed up. Sion exclaimed, The 9-do, Jin Young explained, Ilhak's reputation has faded a lot now, but the previous generation of Ilhak was the top organization in Seoul. Their elite team had 9 members. They were called the 9-do. As if his horizons were broadened, he marveled, Wow, anything involving these gangster uncles is always so epic. But judging by everyone's reactions, it's probably not an exaggeration. Taehyung's underlings turned pale, their voices trembling. The 9-do Choi Chun-ho. Is that old geezer really Choi Chun-ho? The senior looked at the juniors with a calm expression. You kids have no ambition. This middle-aged man is, executive director of Ilhak Capital Choi Chun-ho, leader of the 9-do, ranked as the 2-do in terms of power. The name alone was enough to make Taehyung wary. He cursed under his breath. Damn it, Ilhak. Why the hell are they showing up here? This is a private matter between me and Taesan. What reason do these guys have to stick their noses in it? Jin Young got out of the car and greeted him politely. Senior, it's been a long time. Taehyung was a little surprised. What? Choi Chun-ho pulled him into a hug. Hey, Jin Young. When did you get so big, huh? He replied humbly, I should have been the one to come and greet you, senior. I never expected to see you here. Seung-min spoke in a serious tone. Representative Taehyung, we would like to invite Taesan to be our guests at Ilhak. Is that acceptable? Knowing he had no other choice, he snapped, Damn it, do whatever you want. As Taehyung was dragged into the car, he yelled and struggled. Hey, shit, let go of me. Sion smirked as he watched him get hauled away. He's like a little puppy. Seung-min approached the car and said gently, Director Beck, please take my car. The glass on this one is broken. Seeing the situation change, Lee Soo thought to himself, Lee Seung-min, what are you thinking? He stepped out of the car, looked around and exclaimed, Whoa, sounds like it was pretty brutal. Is it all over? The man laughed. Ha ha ha, Director, you're too kind. Please this way. Chun-ho suddenly suggested, You two please come this way. I have some things to catch up on with my old friend here. Jin Young replied, I'll go with the director. But Lee Soo immediately waved his hand. I'll be fine. I can just take Sion with me. That car is too small, you won't fit. Sion also postured, Hey, I'm not that small. The group quickly departed. Seung-min asked, Did Taesan really withdraw from the Federation? Lee Soo replied, They say they withdrew, but that doesn't mean they've backed down, right? What right do they have? It was just a decision made in the heat of the moment. He figured that if they just withdrew from the Federation like that, the other organizations would put immense pressure on them. Lee Soo agreed, that's right. And we even got ambushed today. I'll have to demand money for the repairs. But really he was thinking, what are you trying to say, Lee Seung-min? The man analyzed cautiously. The Federation is a place of restraint and competition between organizations. To survive, you need power. Lee Soo asked bluntly, what are you trying to say, Representative Lee Seung-min? The car stopped at a harbor. He no longer beat around the bush and laid his cards on the table. Director Do-kyung, Right now I need power. Lee Su looked at him, then glanced out the car window at the other side. Senior Chun-ho examined the broken car window. Compared to backstabbing people, that brat Tai-hyung actually throws a decent punch. He suddenly said, Jin Yang, come to Ilhak. He replied, if that's what this is about, then don't say any more. I'm with Taizan now. Chun-ho tried to persuade him, you have a connection to the Nine-do. There's still a place for you. Jin Yang affirmed, I am a member of Taizan. More importantly, I have things I need to do here. He replied in a firm voice, Jin Yang, you have nothing left to do. Today Taizan will fall. It's over now. Jin Yang's face was emotionless. It seemed something bad had happened. Lee Su looked through the car window. Outside, someone had spoken up. Hello, Director Baek Do-kyung. Welcome to the Nine-do. Watching the men in white suits approach Lee Su, exclaimed, Lee Seung-min's representatives. They're more than I ever imagined. He calmly replied, this is our highest form of welcome. Lee Su covered his face, took a deep breath, then looked at him and asked, it's you, isn't it, the rat? Lee Su called out, Sayen. He looked in the rearview mirror. Yes, Director. Lee Su said, get Lee Seung-min. Sayen immediately replied, yes, sir, I'm on it. The driver's face went pale. What, this arrogant bastard? Quick as a flash, Sayen struck him on the head. The driver slumped onto the steering wheel. Sayen snapped, this little puppy is making too much noise. Be a good boy and lie still for a while, okay? Lee Su got out of the car, looked the man with glasses straight in the eye and said, this won't take long. Meanwhile, Tae-hyung was exhaling smoke, cursing Lee Seung-min, that son of a bitch. That bastard, he even brought the 9 blades. His subordinate asked, the 9 blades? Just how powerful are they really? We've already taken this opportunity to bring in more men. Tae-hyung casually asked, hey, you any good in a fight? He answered, yes, sir, with a dumb look on his face. Tae-hyung slapped him on the head. Then damn it, go take a few punches for me. This damn dog, you know nothing and still run your mouth. Damn it, how did Ilhak take over all of Seoul back in the day? How the hell are you still warming a seat at the main association, huh? You idiot. With that, he grabbed his subordinate's face tightly. Tae-hyung took a drag from his cigarette. I used to wonder the same thing you are. Ilhak has 9 blades. I saw it with my own 2 eyes back then. With just 3 of Ilhak's men, they destroyed every single organization in the Gangbok area. 9 men. Now there are only 6. But anyway, as long as you have 3 of the 9 blades, any problem. Gets resolved cleanly. So what kind of madman would dare pick a fight with the 9 blades? The subordinate asked, what if someone did manage to take down the 9 blades? Tae-hyung replied in a cold voice, then that person would swallow Seoul whole. Night fell and the moon rose high. By the lake, 2 men were fishing. One of them spoke in a low voice. I'm only telling you this out of the kindness of my heart. Taesan isn't what it used to be, is it? It's just a hill behind the neighborhood now. That man was Police Chief Cho Won-ho. He analyzed, because of that project from the higher-ups, Baek Do-kyung lost his younger brother. Tae-san was involved in that incident. That's why things turned out this way. That's why Ilhak has to make the first move. The man sitting beside him was the chairman of Ilhak, capital Lee Seung-min, master of the 9 blades. He replied, even so, we need a legitimate reason. To start a war right now? Won-ho tried to persuade Lee Seung-min. If you keep hesitating, you'll lose everything. You're far too cautious. You just keep avoiding the issue. That's why Ilhak has become what it is today. If the former chairman was still alive, he would have started this war a long time ago. If the main association were the 9 blades, no one would dare to make a sound. We have the best blades, so why are we holding back? I'm only helping because I'm sincerely thinking of you, Chairman. Rebuild Ilhak, starting with Tae-san. Lee Seung-min stood up. He said slowly, we will bring Tae-san to ruin. Won-ho grinned, pleased. He looked at the fish that had taken the bait and replied, that's more like it. Now get to it. Lee Seung-min stated his condition. In exchange, let us participate in this project. The police chief was silent for a moment, then burst out laughing. You should know your place. I was just giving you a little praise. So don't get the wrong idea. How could Ilhak possibly sit at the same table as us? Back at the port, Dogo Yunjin exclaimed, this won't take much time. That's a pretty strange dream you're having. But Lee Su's punches are no joke. He unleashed a flurry of punches on his opponent's face. Yunjin fell to the ground with a thud. Lee Su roared, just because I was away you thought you could bring down Tae-san, huh? I don't care if someone put you up to this, or if you did it on your own, you all made a huge mistake. I will hunt you all down, and today, Ilhak will fall. As Lee Seung-min tried to move a blade, blocked his path. Sayen twirled the knife in his hand and said, didn't you hear him? I was assigned to watch you. Yunjin got up looking at his broken glasses and cried out, oh my, our Director Baek. This isn't like you at all. If you were 10 years older, you might have stood a chance. 2 of his men behind him were laughing uncontrollably. Bro, we thought you were high or something? It's been ages since we saw you take a punch. One of them asked in a mock-serious tone, doesn't it feel refreshing? Yunjin grumbled, hey, I just got punched. Are you kids just going to stand there and watch? He then shot forward, as if that's going to happen. The other guy immediately attacked Lee Su. He raised his arm to block, but the red-haired man rushed in to join the fight. He grabbed Lee Su by the collar, slammed him to the ground, and yelled, we are the 9 blades of Ilhak. He was Choi Gwangpo, the 7th of Ilhak capital's 9 blades. Before Lee Su could react, he saw another kick coming at him. Trang the 9th blade yelled, so Ilhak is going to fall, is it? He braced himself to block the attack. A punch from Jang Do-seop, the 8th blade, came down like a thunderbolt. Lee Soo immediately leaped aside to dodge it. He thought to himself, every single one of them, they're all incredibly strong. What's more, they're experts at coordinated attacks. These guys have formed a closed square, which means if I attack one corner and take one of them down, the whole formation will collapse. Lee Soo chose Yunjin. He threw a punch straight at his face. Yunjin spat out blood and fell backward. San Mang immediately rushed forward to catch him. You're getting old, boss. So you're not going to be sensible, huh? Yunjin cried out. Don't say that. San Mang continued his assault on Lee Soo. Today, Tai-san will fall. Lee Soo dodged aside, causing the punch to miss. San Mang grabbed Lee Soo's shirt, yanked him backward into a tight hold, and said, sorry to disappoint you. Yunjin seized this opportunity and landed a punch right in his face. Seeing this, Cyan exclaimed, what the hell, these old guys? Sami said Ilhuak's blade is the 9 blades. That's what everyone said. The Ilhuak of the past was gone. His glory days were over. But there was one thing everyone had overlooked. Not far away, a loud crash rang out as a car window shattered. Jin Young was thrown onto the car's hood. He was not lightly injured. John Ho warned, don't be so hasty, Jin Young. The bond between us ends here, Jin Young thought to himself. Ilhuak still has the 9 blades. At the port, Semin sat in his car, stating firmly, you guys are no match for the 9 blades. Sae-on ignored Semin's warning. He opened the door and stepped out muttering, man, these gangster uncles. Semin, don't go anywhere. Just stay right there, okay? He said, even if you go out there to help, nothing will change. Sae-on seemed a bit surprised. Help me, who are you helping? He gave a wry smile. Actually, you all have no idea anyway who you're really dealing with. Semin, if I don't go, those uncles out there will die. Outside, Lee Soo was locked in a fierce brawl. Wang Pu was getting the crap beaten out of him, but San Mang was no pushover either. He landed a punch that made Lee Soo spit blood. He suddenly stopped his hand and said, that's enough. Tai-san will fall. Duchang and his men rushed forward. Stop playing around with him. Sae-on jumped into the fray, planting a kick right in Duchang's face. It sent him staggering. The guy with the buzz cut quickly steadied his friend and glared at him. Duchang asked, you want a piece of this too? Sae-on clutched his stomach, saying casually, not just yet. How about you uncles deal with me instead? Over on the other side, San Mang resumed his attack on Lee Soo. Lee Soo grabbed his arm and twisted it hard. A sickening crack echoed through the air. It made Guangpo's crew jump. San Mang thought to himself, it's dislocated. I can't move it. In that brief moment, Yunjin screamed, wait, Guangpo. But it was too late. Guangpo had already charged in launching a kick. Lee Soo raised a hand and caught his leg. The scene shifts. Gang Seong once said, that kid Beck Lee Soo, he's not just strong. He's also got a perfect physique, not a single flaw on him. That goes for both his fighting and his life. He's not the type to back down just because it hurts. You run into people like that every now and then. Both their spirit and their body are incredibly strong, so they absolutely will not fall. When that happens, you have to bind their arms and legs so they can't move. Eventually, their spirit won't be able to take it. Gang figured out that weakness. When he locked Lee Soo's arm tightly, Lee Soo cried out, Instructor, it hurts so much. He immediately replied, it hurts right. That's not good enough. Do it again. Beck, Lee, Soo, again. Back in the chaotic fight, Wang Pu was sprawled on the ground, crying out in pain. Ah! Yunjin broke out in a cold sweat. Beck Do-kyung, are you some kind of monster? Zemin moved to stop Beck, but he suddenly recalled the police chief asking him, but what do you plan to do about Beck Do-kyung? Zemin was a little confused. What are you trying to say? Cho Won-ho laughed and replied, Beck Do-kyung has a twin brother, so I guess that makes him a little different from the other gangsters, huh? He raised his hand, making a blocking and punching motion. Block, punch, punch. Continuously just like that. Suddenly, the police chief yanked his fishing rod hard and yelled, Aish! Damn it! It got away! Zemin asked, what's the brother's name? An arm dropped limply to the ground. Yunjin fell to his knees, saying in a strained voice, Beck Do-kyung, this is too much. Lee Soo was about to throw another punch, but suddenly a loud voice shouted, Stop! Semin said, let's stop here. Yunjin was surprised. What are you planning to do? Semin stepped forward. I knew something was strange from the very beginning. Even though we've taken down Lee Soo, now I understand why Do-kyung has to be eliminated as well. He placed a hand on his shoulder and said, now then, let's have a little chat. Lee Soo. Semin looked him straight in the eye. This is about a pair of twins. He stated frankly, your actions at the main assembly, and just now they weren't like Do-kyung's at all. Lee Soo slapped his hand away, asking in a cold voice, and what's so different about them? You know who I am. He gripped his wrist tightly. Do you really think you'll live through this? Semin's brow furrowed slightly. Lee Soo, no Director Do-kyung. We can negotiate a little, can't we? Lee Soo didn't know what his intentions were. He was lost in thought for a moment. Over on the other side, Seon held up his hand to signal a truce. He smiled and said, what are you two whispering about over there? Let's have a temporary ceasefire, everyone. Uncle Duchang let out a sigh and agreed. And so the two sides sat down to negotiate. Semin said, I admitted we underestimated the Taizan Association. Choi Jong-ho walked over to Yunjin's group and asked, are you guys all right? Did Do-kyung take all of you out by himself? He answered, yes, that kid is a real monster. We were no match for him. Lee Su asked coldly, so what do you want to negotiate? Seeing Jin, Yong Sayan covered his mouth and whispered, hey, that gorilla uncle looks completely untouched, doesn't he? Are you sure they've been weakened? What if more of them show up? Even though we have the upper hand, Jin Young replied. He's a senior. That's why he's unharmed. Sayan smiled in relief. If you say so, then I guess it's okay. He then reminded him, focus on the task at hand. Seungmin held a confidential document. Ilhak has received a request to eliminate Taisan, who made that request, and their motives. It's all in this file. Lee Su interrupted. So that's it. Seungmin made a direct offer. I will give this information to Taisan. But in exchange, Taisan and Ilhak will become allies. In his mind, he calculated, kill two birds with one stone. Ilhak gets stronger, and Taisan gets an ally. Lee Su stood up and answered bluntly. Number. If those are the terms of the negotiation, then forget it. He frowned slightly. Are you saying that if I just take down Ilhak, I'll get that document anyway? Jung-ho laughed and said, that's a good one. Then go ahead and try it. You're getting a little arrogant kid. Jin Young stopped him. Sir, please reconsider. This is a good offer for both of us. We can gain Ilhak's trust this way. Lee Su rubbed his forehead, thinking for a moment. Is that so? The way you people behave is sickening. Ilhak, or whatever you call yourselves, you're all just a bunch of gangsters. His voice grew harder. Trust, huh? Because of that one word, my comrades and my brother are dead. Isn't that right? Jin Young reminded him, Mr. Baek Lee Su. Lee Su grabbed Jin Young by the collar and snarled, it's Baek Dok-young. Sayan quickly jumped between them. Okay, just calm down. Are you two really going to fight each other like this? First, let's just handle the situation here. Seungmin took the file and walked toward the fireplace. Lee Su watched to see what he was planning. He stopped and held the file over the flames, saying, Mr. Baek Lee Su, I suggest you reconsider the offer. He replied coldly, just give me the damn file. That's the only way I might trust you bastards, even a little. Seungmin threatened, you should be careful with your words. There are no copies of this file. Lee Su pulled out a dagger. I dare you. Jin Young tried to stop him. Director Baek. But he ignored him, shouting at the top of his lungs, Ilhak, how could I ever trust a bunch of bastards like you? I don't trust anyone anymore. Now you'd better hand over that file. There is no damn negotiation. From this moment on, you will understand that I give the orders and you will follow them. All of Ilhak will submit to Taisan's authority. And one more thing. I'm taking Seungmin, one of your own, as a hostage. Seeing this unfold, Yoonjin shouted, these Taisan bastards! Seeing his men getting agitated, Jung-ho commanded, 9 swords, everyone stand down. No one is to move. He walked over and gripped Lee Su's arm firmly. Young man, do you really have to go this far? Seungmin exclaimed, Mr. Choi Jung-ho. He took the file from Seungmin's hand. My apologies, Director. Then he turned and announced in a clear voice, I Choi Jung-ho, leader of the 9 swords, offer to take his place as the hostage. I will be the one to go to Taisan. Would that be acceptable? Lee Su took the file, his voice still firm. I said the head of Ilhak. Is your life truly comparable to his? Do you even have the authority here to make an offer like that? Sion called out to Jin Young, Uncle. He stepped forward to explain the 9 swords are the face of Ilhak in the underworld. So this should be sufficient, sir. He replied, you think I don't know that? Jin Young stressed, yes. And if this were Mr. Baek Dok-young, he would not be behaving this way. Lee Su ordered Lee Sion watch Mr. Choi Jung-ho's every move. Jin Young stood frozen. He was realizing that Lee Su was far more complex than he had ever imagined. Scene change. 5 years ago, in an interrogation room, a technician announced, okay, we're good. Start the recording. The investigator asked, you're Baek Lee Su, a member of the White Rat Unit, correct? He replied, that is correct, sir. The HID Special Task Force, responsible for operations in North Korea. Lee Su was being investigated to verify his identity after his infiltration mission in North Korea had concluded. Kim Jae-wook, the supervising investigator, asked, so what was your mission? He replied, everything is classified, sir. Jae-wook looked annoyed. Classified? What are you talking about? Think about your situation. You went into North Korea, you even became one of their soldiers. They had no way to check your background or verify your identity. Did they? Lee Su said, due to the nature of the mission, all of my records were erased. The investigator changed the subject. Fine, then tell me about your commanding officer, your stationed unit, something like that. Lee Su stated firmly, as I've already said, it's all classified. Give me a secure line so I can contact them myself. Jae-wook stood up. This is getting tiring. Baek Lee Su, we are not at all pleased with that North Korean campaign. You have a duty to cooperate with us and declare your identity. It seems there's a misunderstanding. This is something you must do. It's your duty to the nation. He snapped his fingers. You heard me loud and clear, didn't you? Just do as I say. Every word I say has power. If I say you're a communist, then that's what you are. Duke leaned in close to his face threateningly. You're not so innocent yourself, are you? Just confess everything to us honestly, and this will all be over. Just then someone entered from outside. Sir, I am Major Kang Seo-ho, in charge of the Special Intelligence Unit. I heard one of my men was here. So I came to trouble you for a moment. Duke handed a file to Seo-ho. The Major. It's no trouble at all. Investigating spies is our job. He said humbly, Sir, you must be joking. What spy? This kid is like family to me. Duke looked annoyed. Hey, Major, do you think I have time for jokes? You heard what I said. He put a cigarette in his mouth and declared, I'm telling you, this little brat is a spy. Seo Ho quickly took out a lighter. Excuse me, Lieutenant Colonel, but perhaps you're a bit mistaken. I'm saying... Duke cut him off. That's exactly how it is. From now on, you need to speak more clearly. To avoid any unfortunate misunderstandings, he lit the cigarette and said sternly, You listen carefully to what I said. This boy is like family to me. He's not a spy or anything else. I don't care what you think, but I'm telling you again that kid is not a communist. Do you understand me? Seo Ho removed the handcuffs and personally led him away. Let's go, Lee Soo. Duke felt deeply humiliated. He roared, This isn't over. I'll report your conduct to the higher-ups, Major. Where are the guards? Seize those two for me. Hurry. But as he ran to the door, Duke was stunned. What the hell is this? All the guards were lying scattered on the floor. As Seo Ho's group walked outside, he said, Hey, Lee Soo, you're causing me a lot of trouble. You just got back, and I'm already getting an earful from my superiors. He replied calmly, It's not my fault. He was the one trying to frame me as a spy. Seo Ho gave a wry smile. Look at the state of you. Who would believe it? You could have just said you've surrendered, and that would have been enough. We trust each other like family. Look at the way you're dressed. If my daughter or you were a spy, I'd purge you myself to save the trouble. He gave a slight smile and asked, Wasn't that Lieutenant Colonel Kim, your superior just now? Acting like that. Nah, is it okay? Seo Ho cut him off. It's fine. We all serve the nation. I'm not too worried about it. Someone jumped out of the car with a sarcastic tone. Hey, Mr. Spy, what did they interrogate you about? That took so long, huh? Let's all go eat. I'm starving. Ha ha ha. Your clothes and hair. You look just like a North Korean soldier. Gong smiled and said, Welcome home, Captain Beck Lee Soo. Lee Soo held a photograph. In his hand, memories flooded back. He collapsed in anguish. Suddenly, the doorbell rang from outside. Lee Soo answered. Come in. Jin Young reported Lee Cyan is monitoring all of Choi Chun-ho's movements just as you wanted. He ran a hand through his hair tiredly and replied, Thanks. He slowly said, It's just part of the job. About what just happened. I need to talk to you. Lee Soo asked, Is this about Ilhak? Suddenly, Jin Young grabbed him by the collar and lifted him up. I made a mistake, little Beck Lee Soo. Tae-san cannot be left under your management. You are you. You can never become Baek Do-kyung. Kang Seo-ho sat in a restaurant making a phone call. Yes, sweetie. Have you eaten yet? Dad, how did you know Dad's eating right now? My daughter, you have to remember to eat properly. I'm not nagging. I'm just worried about you. Police Chief Cho walked in and waved over Department Head Jang. He quickly sat down, licked his lips and said, I know a lot of great places. If I'd known, I would have sent you a message. What about those other places? Why did it have to be this one? Sun-ho replied, Yeah, have a seat. He signaled for silence, then said to his daughter, No. This place is a little noisy. Police Chief Cho ordered, Miss, I'll have the same thing you're having. Does it come with innards? I don't eat innards. Seon-ho hung up. Okay, sweetie dad will call you back later. Cho Won-ho picked up his spoon and chopsticks. Oh, my daughter. Didn't she just get back from studying abroad? Department head Jang got straight to the point. Chief, the matter with the General Assembly has been resolved nicely. The chief exclaimed, What? I suppose the table has already been set for us. We just have to eat everything one by one. But we've already eaten until we're stuffed. And there is still no news. Seon-ho opened his rice bowl. The General Assembly are just a bunch of thugs after all. He poured the rice into a larger bowl and asked, Are you planning to just drag this out? Won-ho took a napkin and wiped his hands clean. There we go again. I'm just mixing the rice and my mouth is already watering. I've gotten my hands dirty over this too. But those guys aren't that easy to handle. I admit, our department head is very capable, but it's not as easy as you think, Seon-ho cut in. After all, we're just amateurs in this kind of business, aren't we? We need to handle this professionally. The Wonsim project will be starting soon. I guess I'll have to go meet with the General Assembly directly. Cho Won-ho exclaimed, Yuhu, then Sambin. If not him, what about the other underlings? He analyzed, anyway, if we want a foothold in the Wonsim project, we have to start by managing the General Assembly. If we take this opportunity, we can let the assemblymen have a taste of the profits. If we do that, everything will go smoothly. Won-ho picked up a plate of sauce beans and poured it into his bowl. Let's see now. In the end, Baek Lee Soo and his men suspected by command of following the Three Stripes gang were dealt with. So with this opportunity, the department head and the new members will get to show their true abilities right. Seon-ho bowed his head in thought for a moment. If that's the case, then we have to make our move. Police Chief Cho continued to pour rice into his bowl. He muttered, Man, this is so messy. The colorful bowl of mixed rice was steaming hot. Lee Soo sat beside a pile of documents dense with text. He clutched his head and cried out, I think this is it. For a reason like that, everyone had to die. He looked at the small photo of the whole team, his heart aching. The doorbell rang. Lee Soo answered, Come in. Jin Young saw Lee Soo's exhausted state and spoke. Sorry to bother you. He reported, Just as you said, Saeon is monitoring Choi Jong-ho. Lee Soo, still hunched over, said, You've worked hard. Jin Young replied, This is Tae-san's job. Where Saeon was watching Choi Jong-ho, the atmosphere seemed more relaxed. He made a call, his voice cheerful. Nothing special going on. Tae-san isn't so bad. It's nice to get a vacation like this anyway. It really is nice, Sambin said softly. I'm sorry. It's all because I was too clumsy. Old man Choi brushed it off. Clumsy. What are you talking about? But this wasn't due to the organization's judgment, so all of us were just following that judgment. I believed in and followed the organization's judgment. The outcome might not have been what we wanted, but from the very beginning, I never thought it was the wrong call. Sanbin smiled. We'll see each other again soon, Jung-ho reassured him. Just take it easy. I'll use this chance to get some good rest. Sayeon, hearing the conversation, asked, Hey, isn't that the boss? Or is he your nephew? The man laughed. Why would he be my nephew? Of course he's the boss of Ilhak. Are you wondering if I was captured and brought here like this because of that boss? What if we were to bother you? Jung-ho calmly opened a plate of food. Look, this was my choice. I accept it. Sayeon was a little surprised. Wasn't it the boss's choice? You just do what you're told. And in the end, you were captured and brought here like this. He covered the plate of food and slowly replied, I have a slightly different way of thinking about this. Is Taesan that kind of organization? If that's the case, then Taesan is a real disappointment, isn't it? Sain thought. Experience really does count. In the office, Jin Young said, I think I was wrong, Baek Lee-soo. I shouldn't have handed Taesan over to you. Give it up. Baek Lee-soo pushed his hand away and snapped, Do you see me as a child you can just give things to and take them away whenever you feel like it? What are you trying to do? You want to protect Taesan. And I need an organization for my revenge. That's why we took over Ilhak. So what's the problem? Jin Young answered bluntly. There's a problem with our methods. First, you have to become Baek Do-kyung. Lee-soo frowned. That's why I'm pretending to be Baek Do-kyung right now. He asserted no, if it were Baek Do-kyung as the head of Taesan, he wouldn't do things this way. Taesan is an organization built on trust and Baek Do-kyung. Therefore, you have to make everyone in the organization trust you. Trust Baek Do-kyung. He brushed the stray hairs from his forehead. Trust, or whatever method you're talking about. What exactly am I supposed to do? Until now, the General Assembly has just thought of this as kids playing around. Lee-soo turned back to look at him, his expression cold, and said, Trust. Isn't an organization just a place where you follow the boss's orders? A method, I'll just use absolute power to crush them all, just like thugs do. That should be enough. What's the problem with that? Hearing these words, Jin Young loosened his tie and took off his vest. Baek Lee-soo, if that's the case, then first let me see for myself how you kids play. He didn't answer, but immediately lunged forward, attacking with a powerful knee strike. Jin Young instantly blocked it, grabbed him by the collar, and slammed him down hard. Lee-soo frowned. The blow was clearly not light. He exclaimed, Is that all you've got? An intelligence agent or something, Lee-soo suddenly slammed his heel straight into his opponent's chin. Jin Young was knocked back. He sat up, looking at the large bruise on Jin Young's jaw. In the detention room, Choi Chun-ho was still lecturing Sae about the underworld, an organization that uses force to subjugate and make others obey. Who would follow an organization like that? You often call us thugs. Do you know what that means? We are people who live by our fists and believe in each other's pride. People like that gather for their own interests and start wars. In that world, there are people who fight together, and there are also those who stab others in the back. That's what being a thug is like. And then people will appear who believe in you and are completely loyal to you. On the floor, amidst overturned tables, chairs, and scattered papers, Lee-soo sat on top of Jin Young. His fist stopped in midair. He sighed, then got up and walked to the door. I think I was wrong. Solving things the thug's way isn't the problem, but their way requires more than just overwhelming strength. John believed that if an organization operates on overwhelming strength, then that's an army. Sayen agreed, that's right, an army. Suddenly his phone rang. Sayen glanced at it, then stood up and waved, saying, You're an interesting guy, let's talk again next time. Enjoy your vacation. Jong-ho asked, puzzled, Aren't you here to watch me? He replied bluntly, What are you talking about? I don't think you're the type to run away. But hey, no one can be trusted. But I really don't want to have to use force to restrain you. Lee-soo walked out into the hallway, and upon meeting Sen, immediately said, From now on, let's do things our way. Create a new organization with capable people. Approach that guy we talked about before since he's a professional. Let's do it the professional way. The deadline is 1 week. Take care of the General Assembly within that time. Now, Jin Young was lying on the floor, his arm behind his head, reminiscing about the past. On a snowy, rainy day, 4 years ago, in a small restaurant, Jin Young, who was still a chef back then, looked at the young man in front of him and asked, Why do you keep coming here? The man, covered in blood, lit a cigarette with a lighter and casually replied, What else would I do at a restaurant? I'm here to eat, of course. Is this how you treat a regular? Don't you know anything about customer service? No wonder this place is barely staying afloat. This customer was none other than Ohiyama Kyubi, the executive director, Baek Do-kyung. The director of the financial group, Dr. Jin Young, reminded him, There's no smoking in here. Do-kyung laughed and replied, My apologies, it's a habit. But these guys don't count as customers, do they? He said, pointing to two men lying flat on the floor. Now Jin Young sighed. Just go. Before things get more complicated, you just looked at the door. It's a bit late to leave now. A group of people pushed the door open, saw the scene inside, and immediately exclaimed, Holy shit, it's real. I thought it was just some bullshit rumor. But look at the pathetic state of these punks. That must be Jin Young. Why don't you want to work with Ilhak anymore? Scared you'll end up dead like your boss. This guy is Lee Hang-gu, the finance manager for Hook of the Rirang clan. Hearing his arrogant tone, Do-kyung reminded him, Hey, the owner here said he doesn't serve wandering ghosts from any gangs. I'm a regular, so it's fine. Hong-gu looked at him with disdain. What the hell are you talking about? Are you brave or just stupid? Seeing his calm, fearless expression, he got annoyed. Damn it, look at this guy. Are you the one who took care of my boys? Hungu touched his face, his voice threatening. You fool! In Hanam district, you dare to touch Hook, you're pretty good looking. You'd probably sell for a good price, huh? But that would be a waste. Dokyung retorted, You call yourself Hook. How ridiculous. The man stood there dumbfounded. What? He grabbed his hand and asked, Isn't Hook supposed to only have one hand? Speaking of Captain Hook, a blood-curdling scream echoed, startling the lackeys standing outside. Red syrup splattered on the wall. Hungu screamed, Ah, you crazy bastard. Damn it. Do you have any idea who you're messing with? We're the Hook clones of the Jurang clan. The Jurang clan will deal with you. Dokyung replied maturely, You think I give a damn. We're the Taizang clan. Bring all your Jurang clan forces here. The underlings ran in and were horrified by the sight before them. Boss, should we take you to the hospital? Hungu clutched his hand, which was missing 2 fingers. This crazy bastard. The whole group quickly left. Jin Yong finally spoke up. You're just going to let him go like that? And why did you pick a fight with the Chirang clan? Dokyung pushed his hair back. Those guys came here for you, didn't they? Didn't you open this shop to deal with them? The whole restaurant is covered in dust and there isn't even a menu. A proper one at that. I can't believe you opened a shop here. It's obvious. You just want to take care of the bastards who come looking for you. Dokyung offered with a friendly smile. I'll help you with this. What do you say? Jin Yong asked, Do you even know who the enemy is? He replied cheerfully. I already said we're the Taisang clan, so it doesn't matter who they are. He held his hand out in front of Dokyung. Hey, tie your hair back. Your hair is too messy. He took the elastic band from his wrist. Ah, thanks. By the way, your cooking is terrible. You really shouldn't cook. I'm serious. Jin Young looked at the hair tie on his wrist lying there and wondering if he was doing the right thing. Hungu rubbed his head annoyed. He looked at his hand with 2 missing fingers and suddenly flew into a rage. Damn it, I can't get used to this hand. However, it's time to settle the score. 4 years have passed, but I still haven't forgotten the pain of that day. Hungu shot to his feet. Right now, the Taizang clan is weak because their leadership resigned. We're going to take them down, he said, rallying his subordinates. Get fired up. The group responded in unison. Yes, boss. The finance manager of the Hook faction Jirang clan. Current manpower 50 people. Before they could even discuss a battle plan, suddenly there was a loud banging on the door. One of them exclaimed, What the... The door was kicked open, and the man guarding it fell flat on the ground. The thugs stared blankly, not understanding what was happening. A tall man slowly walked in his face, stern, staring them down. The source of this story began with a graffitied wall. The manager asked, Boris, do you know who did this? He pointed to the wall behind him. Who is it? Who spray-painted our construction site's wall? In the construction site warehouse, Cyen's voice held a hint of surprise. Boris, you mean Ochaka, right? Has he returned to Russia yet? Lisu said he disguised himself as a foreign worker to hide his identity. A heavy door opened. He thought to himself, he still hasn't found the traitor, so of course he can't go back. Ochaka is a Russian mafia member nicknamed the Purger. Boris Parkan's hound dog just saw a stranger. Boris immediately pulled out a dagger and charged forward. Lisu shouted loudly, Boris! Seeing his aggressive stance, he wondered, will a guy like him really work with us? His nickname is Spirit Summoner. Lisu took out a USB and held it up. I came to negotiate demon. Boris suddenly froze his emotionless face, glancing at the object in his hand. He then slowly took off his helmet. His nickname is the Demon. On his head, Boris had a demon's hand. Returning to Huck's territory upon seeing Boris enter, Hungu yelled, Who is this white bastard? How dare you ruin such an important day? Get him! The underlings rushed forward to attack. A cold gun barrel greeted them. The henchman froze, his face pale. A gun! Boris smashed him in the face. The guy immediately fell to the ground unconscious. The other one pulled out a dagger, cursing loudly, You bastard! Boris pointed the gun at him. He sneered, Idiots! And then gave him a powerful punch. Hungu's henchman's teeth and lips, a bloody mess, collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, the rest of the crowd yelled, Damn it, surround him! 2 men grabbed his arms, another held his head tightly. I've got him! Boris bit down hard on the man's bicep. The guy screamed, Ah, my God! Suddenly he lost his balance and tumbled to the ground. Boris picked up the dagger. He sat on top of his opponent and coldly struck. A piercing scream rang out. Ah! Someone shouted, Hold him back! The incident happened so fast that Hungu was terrified. He trembled. What the hell? My hand. Boris, his hand covered in blood. Everyone has a demon inside them to justify their own weakness. He grabbed Hungu's hair and forced his head down. He cried out helplessly, Damn it, who the hell do you think you are? Let me go. Boris pointed the dagger at his head and sneered, You're the same. So there's a demon here, huh? Just then, Cyan ran in shouting, Boris, stop, stop. He smiled warmly and said, Good job, Boris, really good job. But can you stop now? Hungu, his voice trembling, asked, Who the hell are you? Who sent you here, huh? We're the Earth Wolves, Cyan replied. Yeah, I know. The Earth Wolves, right? I'm from the Taishan Society. He made a phone call to report, Director, this group belongs to the Earth Wolves. They're all in our hands now. Hak Finance for the Earth Wolf Society. Current manpower 1 person. Hungu kneeling on the ground cursed. Damn it, the Taishan Society isn't even an international organization. After listening, Li Su replied, good job. Now Sayon, a little worried, cut him off. You can't mess with this Russian guy, he's super violent. His eyes were fixed on the dagger in Boris's hand. He muttered a warning, hey. Boris, stop, don't cut him. Sayon added, director about the Iron Weasel. I'm against it. I know he's talented, but we can't trust him. Li Su replied, his skills are truly excellent, and he only works for money. He could feel the Iron Weasel's presence. He was slowly approaching. Sayon was still very skeptical. Sorry, but even so, isn't he a capitalist? Just then, from behind Li Su, a young man with a dagger charged forward. Sayon was still rambling on. That bastard is a spy from North Korea. Li Su quickly drew his dagger and blocked the attack. The Iron Weasel gripped his dagger tightly, looked straight into Li Su's eyes and yelled, who are you? Who sent you? Could it be someone from the higher-ups sent you? This guy looked handsome and fair-skinned, but he was an anti-South Korea teenage spy codename, White Belly, Lim Kyung-chun, 17 years old. A primary surveillance target of the National Intelligence Service. Sayon added, he's currently on the run. I object, as Kyung-chun continued his attack. His speed was incredible. Li Su, while blocking the blows, mentally assessed his opponent. He's just a kid. He struck the hand holding the dagger hard. He may be young, but he's very skilled. It's been a while, White Belly. Upon hearing this nickname, Kim Kyung-chun blurted out, You know me? This is incredible. When I left, I killed everyone who knew who I was. He stared intently at Li Su, thinking to himself, I killed all of my comrades and superiors, and then headed south. 3 years ago, at the Kaesong Industrial Complex, an officer shouted authoritatively, attention everyone, I am Major Lee Wook-seong of the Reconnaissance General Bureau. Comrades, do you know where you are? This is the Kaesong Industrial Complex, a place where North Korea and others gather to make a profit. If it were built in North Korea, the products would be sent to South Korea and used to fill their bellies. Those are the meaningless words of South Korea and their filthy capitalism. Comrades, do you understand this thing called capitalism? This officer was Major Lee Wook-seong of the Reconnaissance General Bureau, leader of the new Special Operations Team with 4 years of long-term experience working in South Korea. A total of 12 infiltrations into the South. He clenched his fist and said in a stern voice, the brats in South Korea look at us like we're stray dogs, but that's fine. That's why North Korea created this as an experimental plan. The children began to be taught many skills, even sewing, combat, and survival. But what we make are not just capitalist products. We are a team that bites their throats out like wild beasts, the codename White Belly. That is your duty and your mission, comrades. The White Belly team was a plan to train teenage spies in the Kaesong Industrial Complex to infiltrate deep into South Korea. According to the plan, they would work in the industrial complex during the day. And at night, they would be trained to become spies in the south, heading south along with the goods from the complex. But this plan was not taken seriously. One day, as Kyung-chun was walking, he suddenly met a driver. As soon as the driver saw him, he called out, Kyung-chun, hey Lim Kyung-chun. The driver took out a red box of snacks and held it up. Hey Lim Kyung-chun, have some of this. The boy looked at the box of choco pies. He couldn't contain his delight and immediately began to devour them. The driver said, hey, eat slowly. Share this with the others too. Kim Ung-chun suddenly explained, Lim, my last name is Lim. The man laughed and replied, oh, really, same here. The teenagers here were incredibly excited to get a taste of capitalism at the Kaesong Industrial Complex where they were working. For Kyung-chun, who came from the slums, this feeling was much more profound. A box of snacks was thrown on the floor. Finish these and then go. The price for their grueling training. The reward was the taste of capitalism. 2 years later, the trainees were practicing close quarters combat with daggers. An officer watching from above asked, how much longer will it take? Woo-sang replied, if we want to complete their ideological education and deploy them, it will take about 2 more years. The superior ordered, this week, start this week. That's an order from the higher-ups. He thought to himself, the Kaesong Industrial Complex is going to be shut down, so we have to prepare immediately. We have to show the higher-ups some results. 1 day later, the driver sighed, oh man, what am I supposed to do about this? Ki Young-chun immediately asked, sir, is something wrong? Your face is as white as a sheet. The man exclaimed, Ki Young-chun, you're here. Seeing the boy holding out his hands with a happy, expectant look, the driver remembered. Oh, that's right, for you. I'll give you your stuff tonight, so just wait. Okay, he whispered. There's no other way. I'll just have to wait until tonight. Everyone get in the vehicle. We're taking you down to South Korea. Night fell. Everyone dressed neatly in their military uniforms began to move. A comrade saw Kyung-chun still engrossed in eating his snack and called out quietly, Hey, Lim Kyung-chun, let's go. What are you still doing? Hurry up. You can eat all you want when we get to South Korea. He was a little surprised. For real, South Korea is full of this stuff. A man holding a knife approached the car door. First, we take care of the driver. Everyone get ready. Kyung-chun was startled. He cried out, wait, hold on, the driver. Can't we just wait for him to give us a ride? Hold on, there are still other passengers. Let's think about this. The other man frowned and said, don't be ridiculous. We don't have time to think. Ki Yong-chun didn't say another word. He acted immediately. The dagger flashed in the night. Blood splattered everywhere. Now what else is there to think about? Just wait a second. The whole group turned pale seeing this. What are you talking about? Ki Yong-chun glared and asked, "Comrades, are you not going to listen to me?" A moment later, he opened the car door and called out to the driver, "Sir, can you give me a ride down to South Korea? After all, South Korea seems like a good fit for me." Behind Kyung-chun, the other members of the team had all been killed. Elsewhere, the officer lay flat on the ground. His face was filled with terror. "Major Ri Utsang, don't do this." Why? Why did the other comrades end up like this? 3:30. All members, including the instructor of the new special task force, were dead at the hands of Lim Kyung-chun. Major Ri raised a hand to his face and peeled off a mask. 3:55. An unexpected spy appeared and interfered with Lim Kyung-chun's sudden actions. The terrified officer cried out, What is this? Who are you?" After that, Lim Kyung-chun came to be known as White Belly. Requested designation as a surveillance and management target. Person reporting the anomaly, Baek Lee Soo HID, Special Forces Northern Task Force. Baek Lee Soo, 4 years of long-term combat experience in the north. 8 infiltrations into the north. Back in the present, Lee Soo held a knife to Kyung-chun's neck. He wasn't scared at all, instead, admiringly praising him. "Wow, you're really good." This is the knife technique we learned back in North Korea, but you learned it really fast, saying that he raised both hands to his head in a gesture of surrender. Kim Ung-chun asked, "So you really are from the north? Are you here to capture me?" Lee Soo replied, "I'm not after you, Lim Kim Ung-chun." He was a little surprised. "Well, that's the first I'm hearing of it. If you're not here to follow me, then what business brings you all the way out here?" He answered frankly, "I'm here to propose a deal." Ki Ung-chun took out a snack and slowly unwrapped it, muttering, "Deal, a deal. I like the sound of that word. Very capitalist." "Go on, talk, comrade." Mount Gyeryong Red Crown Hotel. A wine bottle was smashed straight over the manager's head. An angry voice rang out, "What the hell is this?" 3 hotels had their business suspended in half a day. Tae Hyung, who was soaking in a hot tub, shot to his feet, a stunned look on his face. The manager replied, "I'm sorry." The district director said there was nothing he could do. He put on a robe, cursing under his breath, "Son of a bitch." Then he grabbed the manager's hair and yanked it back. "Well, then you guys should have looked into it. You dogs just know how to say yes, sir, and then close the hotel." The manager quickly explained, "I'm sorry, don't just follow orders from above." Tae Hyung flew into a rage. "God damn it, you airheaded idiot. Go find out what happened." At that moment, one of the guys ran in out of breath. Director HK Credit in Hannam Ward has been wrecked by Tae Sun. Tae Hyung froze. Tae Sun. So it was all those damn bastards' fault. He immediately ordered everyone to gather and head to Tae Sun in Hannam Ward. As the crew gathered in the hallway, a man sitting on a nearby chair remarked, "Oh man, look at that entourage of his. Look at that bunch of thugs." Seeing him laugh out loud, seemingly in provocation, a guy cursed, "What the hell is this?" As Tae Hyung was walking, he suddenly heard a scream from behind. Ruri Eong grabbed a thug's hand, twisting it tight, and mocked, "Sorry about that. Bent it a little too far. Guess you'll have to eat with your left hand now." With those words, he twisted the hand hard, making the guy cry out, "Ah, mommy, daddy." A surprise punch flew out. Tae Hyung lunged forward to attack and save his subordinate. He growled, "This. Thought I'd let my guard down, did you? A lot of people seem to have a taste for trouble lately." Jang Seong blocked his hand. "My apologies, Director Tae Hyung. Our boys are a bit rough, but we've already checked the area. The hotel business has a lot of problems, doesn't it?" He took a drag from his cigarette and picked up a file to look at. "Just say the word, and everything can be resolved nicely. First, why don't you have a seat?" Tae Hyung laughed loudly. "Ha ha! Look at him, the one shutting down my hotels. It wasn't Tyson, but you. But when you say you're asking for a favor, what kind of favor is it?" He pulled up a chair and sat down, then said, "The favor you're asking of me now is to spare your life." Ruri Eong burst out laughing, unable to stop. "Ha ha ha! Seriously, no matter how I look at it, I just can't stand this bunch of thugs. You pull a stunt like that and you'll die on the spot. You damn thug." Tae Hyung threatened, "This is my turf. How dare you?" Manager Jiang reminded him, "Director Tae Hyung, let's handle this properly. I came here to ask for your help." He took off his glasses, looked him straight in the eye, and continued, "Next time, it won't be me asking for a favor. It'll be a fight. Got it." The wolf is an apex predator among animals. They are smaller carnivores than bears and tigers, however. The reason they can be the apex predator that dominates all other species is because, unlike other carnivores, they often gather in packs to hunt. They live in packs with one wolf acting as the alpha, leading the entire pack. The leadership represented by this wolf is called the alpha. Large organizations are structured just like a wolf pack. The Dialang, the leader, is the Dialang Rio. Tae Hyung gently stubbed out his cigarette, the words escaping his lips. "You're being ridiculous." "Borrow me a Dialang," Manager Zhang asked. "What's a Dialang?" Tae Hyung was a bit confused. "What do you mean?" Seong Ho slowly said, "You run the hotel business in every alley throughout the Yongsan area, and you've got your hands in this and that too." He pulled out a gun and smirked, asking, "After all, you guys are just a bunch of thugs, right? Understand?" A group of people entered from outside, hunters with guns seeking out the wolf pack, the deer lang. Manager Jiang bluntly declared, "We're different from you amateurs. We're professionals." Taehyung refused to back down. He clenched his fist, looking at Seong-ho with a cold gaze, and said, "What was that? So you're saying you want to fight? Is that it?" Manager Jiang took a drag from his cigarette. "So just relax a little. And let's talk business director Taehyung." He handed Taehyung a stack of documents. As he opened it to look, he grumbled, "Business. For crying out loud, what is it this time?" After reading the paper filled with dense text, Taehyung was a bit shocked. "This," he held up the paper and asked, "are you really planning to feed this to us? Is it so sweet and delicious that you want to give us a piece? Why would you give something this good to us? If something goes wrong, we're the ones who'll get screwed after taking the bait. You're the only one who stands to gain from this. Isn't that right? What reason do we have to trust you and accept this?" Seong-ho replied sternly, "I already told you. This is business. My side will provide the necessary manpower. They're all professionals." Taehyung aggressively tore up the stack of documents. "You keep going on and on about professionals. We have to confirm things for ourselves before we can talk business." He threw the scraps of paper onto the floor. "First, let me see what these professionals of yours are made of." Outside a fast food restaurant, Silent held his phone, complaining nonstop. "Oh, come on. It's way past the meeting time. And I still haven't seen anyone." He dialed a number. "Captain, what's going on? Where'd you disappear to?" "Lee-soo, can you hear me?" Cyan replied, "Yes, Captain. For now, just wait there. I'll call you back later, over here." We were making our move after approaching Iron Weasel. Cyan curiously asked, "Iron Weasel, is there a problem?" Lisa's group entered a hallway. Upon seeing him, two men exclaimed, "What the hell is this? You look over there." As Kyung-chun pulled out a small knife and took aim, Cyan asked, "That guy, is he useful?" The man in black shot to his feet, yelling, "Who the hell do you think you are barging in here?" Before he could finish, a cold, sharp glint flashed across his neck. Blood spurted out and the entire group froze in horror. Kyung-chun retrieved his knife. He grinned and said, "If you don't want to die, start talking." Suddenly, Kyung-chun noticed a red stain on his shirt and cried out, "Ugh, blood." Lee-soo answered Cyan's question. "He's useful too." Cyan still had more questions. "Okay, but isn't he a little young?" He asked again. "You mean the guy who tried to approach us? Is he useful?" Just as Lee-soo opened the door, a dagger flew at him. A bald man charged out unexpectedly, yelling, "Die!" He dodged to the side, avoiding the blow, then grabbed the man's hand, held it tight, and snapped it decisively. The bald man collapsed to his knees, screaming in agony. "Ah, you bastard!" Lee-soo stomped on the man's head. Everyone else in the room shot to their feet. Meanwhile, Cyan was still chattering on, "This side is great too. You'd be surprised if you saw it, you know." While the captain went north, I was dispatched to the US military in the Middle East. I went there to teach English. Lee-soo cut him off. "You already told me that." In front of Lee-soo, a group of men with daggers prepared to attack. But Cyan kept talking. "You know what's interesting? There are some strange kids on motorcycles heading this way." Sounds of a fight, thwack, ugh, argh, erupted from the other end. "Get him," Cyan asked. "Did you hear that?" "Clearly," Lee-soo replied. "Just keep talking." He continued. "Among them, there's a guy named Deadline. He's the kind of guy who'll do anything for money, so they call him the servant." Lee-soo was a little surprised. The servant. So he'll do anything anyone says. Lee-soo's hand tightened on a man who was trembling uncontrollably and could only make gasping sounds. "That's right," Cyan replied. "Just give him money and he'll do anything." Kyung-chun was also fighting effectively. He wondered, are there really this many fakes? Lee-soo suddenly clapped him on the shoulder, saying, "Let's keep moving. We have to take down all the organizations under Dirang. We've already captured one of their players. So we need to paralyze Dirang's entire massive organization." In the plan to eliminate, Dirang Honggu was marked with a red X. It was then that Cyan realized it was a guerrilla attack. He said, "Let me take care of things here. I'll meet up with you two later." Lee-soo warned, "Got it. You'd better move fast too." Just then an axe came flying at him. Lee-soo snatched it out of the air and continued, "Because they're also on the move." "Faster than we thought?" A man in a white vest stared at him in disbelief. "What the hell is this? What are you trying to pull here?" The man gestured with his chin, asking, "Aren't they those guys from the Hangul investigation team? You bastards dare to mess with us with Dirang." He was Kim Doggy, owner of the Doggy Doggy nightclub, and a member of Dirang. Lee-soo said in a cold voice, "Clean them up, Iron Weasel. They're just a bunch of amateurs." With a choco-pie in his mouth and a knife in each hand, Kyung-chun leaped into the fray. He nodded. "Guess so. Gotta deal with you guys quickly." Two of Doki's subordinates immediately pushed their boss back. As he engaged them, one launched a surprise frontal attack. The blade sliced past Kyung-chun's face, cutting the snack he was eating right out of his mouth. He exclaimed, "Whoa, for real? These guys are players, eh?" Lee-soo thought to himself, "They're military trained. So Dirang has guys like these, huh?" Doki peeked out smugly. "So what do you think? These guys were sent to me by Dirang's director, Ryu Tae-hyung. I heard they're the educated type. Their abilities are on a whole other level, aren't they? Even, I'm surprised. By now, they've probably already reached your Taizan. You're not the only ones who know how to use your heads. You should go back and take a look. Maybe your organization and your boss have all been smashed to bits by now." What's the matter, scared now? Hearing these words, Li Su thought to himself, did Chief Zhang intervene directly with Wonxin, or did he drag Dirang into this? Kyungchun held up two fingers and said, double. You have to pay me double. These guys are players, so you have to pay me double. Li Su was momentarily stunned. This guy's a real capitalist. Ki Ung-chun leaped high into the air, still negotiating non-stop. If not, then I've got a question for you. So I'd better check again. After all, I am a North Korean agent. I wonder if he can take down those South Korean players. He charges his opponent, and the man in the suit immediately engages. Kyung-chun dodges the knife and strikes his hand hard. With one hand, he controls the opponent's knife arm, while with the other, he spins a small dagger and makes a decisive cut. The man lets out a grunt and collapses as the other one rushes into fight. But he couldn't escape Kyung-chun's blade either. He shouts, I've taken care of them. What are you waiting for? Get a move on, Li Su replies. Of course. Doki presses himself against the wall, his face filled with utter panic. He whimpers, Li Su-hyung. Li Su worries to himself Manager Jiang has gotten involved with the Dilan gang. How did it happen so fast? Meanwhile, at the Red Crown Hotel, Tae-hyung looks at the newly arrived group and sneers. What's this? He actually looks somewhat useful. Is this guy going to do what we tell him to? Just like our amateurs, huh? Manager Jiang adjusts his glasses and slowly replies, Director Tae-hyung, do you know why we're the professionals? As Li Su runs down the hall, he thinks to himself, if the price isn't right, he won't do it. Which means, as long as the money's there, it doesn't matter who's giving the orders. In that respect, that man is the number one professional of them all. Li Su's figure comes into Dylan's view. In front of the Taizan Syndicate's building, countless men are gathering, all brandishing guns as they advance menacingly. It seems tonight, Manager Jiang intends to create a bloodbath at Taizan. In a nearby car, Manager Jiang and a man named Ruri Aeon are having a discussion. Ruri Aeon adjusts his clothes and says, I still can't believe we're getting involved in the syndicate's business. But Manager Jiang pretends not to understand. What do you mean? Ruri Aeon leans in with a smug, punchable look on his face. You know exactly what I mean. He brushes his hair back. I'm sure I eliminated Baekisu, so why? Why is he still alive? You're supposed to see the living and find the dead. Manager Jiang looks at him skeptically. Are you sure you eliminated him? He turns away, his voice menacing. Let me tell you, if you had brought back his body or something, none of this would have happened. Don't you think so? At Manager Jiang's words, Ruri Aeon has a sudden realization. As if enlightened, he claps his hands. Aha, that's right. I should have brought the body back. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? Ruri Aeon bursts into crazed laughter. I should have brought it back. That's what I should have done. It seems Baek Yu has left him with some serious psychological trauma. Talking to this madman is exhausting. Manager Jiang can only let out a sigh. Just drop it. Meanwhile, with Isu, the battle is incredibly intense. Isu, with his quick reflexes, successfully blocks a powerful swing from the biker. Seeing the man before him, Isu immediately realizes the situation is bad. A dead end, huh? Can't say and meet them. Don't tell me Manager Jiang is in trouble now. Too many new variables are appearing. Before Isu has time to think, Dead Silent immediately turns around, his headlights blinding. The situation has become more critical than ever. This reminds Isu of the past. In the Middle East, Afghanistan, the most dangerous combat zone, a desert wasteland with countless sand dunes. To overcome this harsh environment, the 66th Nomad Battalion formed a special action unit, the United States Special Operations Command SOCOM. After neutralizing the target, the battalion quickly reported the results. Romeo 3, target Alpha has been eliminated. We are securing weapons and ammunition. Over. One of the operators says, confused, this is all Allied equipment. Where did they get it? I don't know. But there are always variables. To survive in a place full of them, you have to find a way. After acquiring the supplies, Dead Silent immediately heads to an underground transaction point. The door opens to a real hornet's nest. Everyone inside is heavily armed. The extremist group needs weapons to cause chaos, and the hungry wolves supply those weapons for their own personal gain. After the exchange is complete, Dead Silent leaves immediately. Life is full of variables. This is the most dangerous war zone, and if you don't anticipate them, you'll become their victim. In the briefcase that Dead Silent is carrying is not just money, but also a time bomb. And when the time comes, the bomb detonates. Boom! The explosion lights up the dark desert. The extremists are celebrating their success, but they don't expect their own variable to arrive. Dead Silent is still alive. He's returned to settle the score. Ooh. With a crowbar in hand, he takes one of them out in just a minute. But Dead Silent was also seriously injured in the blast, his entire back a bloody mess. In this desert, you have to be at the top of the food chain. They had the nerve to do this. Then you'd better be ready to face the consequences. Death Silent, on his battle bike, charged in and annihilated the entire extremist group that night, leaving nothing but terrified screams in his wake. And he was the most dangerous enemy of all. Back in the present, Death Silent was tearing through the wind, rushing toward ISU. He immediately analyzed his opponent's left hand holding an iron rod, aiming for a weak point. But the motorcycle's headlight suddenly switched off. The space around ISU was plunged into darkness. That's because it takes a moment for the eyes to adjust when going from light to dark. For his eyes to see clearly. ISU realized it instantly and swung his weapon around. I can't see clearly anymore. So that's why he kept shining that light right at me, huh? But Death Silent was completely different. He had already adapted to the darkness and swung a critical blow at ISU. Although he managed to block part of it, the weapon in his hand, it snapped in two instantly. Even his arm was injured from the blow. The blow was so powerful that ISU had to clutch his arm, which was trembling from the pain. The situation was now incredibly difficult for him. He realized he was facing an opponent who was far superior. Back with the Taizan group, the two sides were fighting fiercely. Hold the line. Kill those dire wolf dogs. But Taizan was now on the losing end. Two captains, panting heavily, asked each other, "Damn it, we haven't even seen their director yet. What about the leader?" "We haven't seen our leader either." Amidst the chaotic brawl, a figure calmly strode forward. It was the man with glasses, the leader of the section chief's special agent team. He shoved a dire wolf member aside and clicked his tongue. "I don't see Boss Jang anywhere. What's with his rabble?" Over here, a Taizan captain was reassuring his men. "Don't waver." But the man with the glasses appeared in a flash and landed a punch that made him cough up blood. It was a clean, decisive blow. The captain collapsed instantly. Unable to fight back, he fell helplessly to the ground. The man with the glasses then turned back to scold the useless mob behind him. "Come on, they're just a couple of thugs. Get them." The dire wolf members, their morale boosted, charged forward, excitedly throwing the Taizan men into a panic. "Destroy the Taizan bastards." Just as he said it, a fist flew straight at him. Choi Chun-ho had entered the fray, delivering a thunderous punch that smashed the guy flat on the ground. It was a horrifying sight. With blood and flesh splattered everywhere, he said softly, "Oh man, I just wanted to get some rest." But if Jin Wong is the one asking, I guess I have no choice. He pulled his gloves on tight, preparing to fight. Dire wolf members saw him and were shocked to their core. Judo. Why is Choi Chun-ho here? The man with the glasses saw how panicked the dire wolf members were. He was a little curious, but he didn't have to wait long. Choi Chun-ho's gaze locked onto his. "Hey, you over there. You don't look like you're with my people. Too bad this is the first time we're meeting." The other guy looked at him slightly confused. Choi Chun-ho's identity was now revealed executive director of Ilhak's second dan in judo. He took off his white vest, excited. "Today, I'm fighting for Taizan, and my temporary title is head of security for the Taizan group." The man with the glasses, annoyed, took them off. "What a pain in the ass," he growled. "Old man, doesn't your son give you an allowance for your retirement? Why do you insist on getting involved in these childish games?" This man was Yang Hun, formerly of the Special Military Police and now concurrently the captain of the Special Action Team. He was expelled from the Fifth Army for violence and disorderly conduct. The appearance of Choi Chun-ho had completely changed the tide of the battle. Ilhak. They had ushered in a golden age. Choi Chun-ho was one of the sharpest blades that brought Ilhak to his peak, and he was the pride of the gang whenever his name was mentioned. But in this fight, Choi Chun-ho would be fighting to help the Taizan group. Though old, he was still tough. Choi Chun-ho yelled, "Where have all the real men gone? All I see is a bunch of weaklings." The dire wolf underlings saw Choi Chun-ho and were terrified. How the hell is that old geezer from Ilhak fighting for Taizan? Jang Hun, however, couldn't care less. He looked down on these street corner gangsters. With a contemptuous tone, he asked, "And just what do you think you're doing here?" Jang Hun continued, "Hey, old man, didn't your son already give you money so you could rest up in a hospital? So why when you're so old? Are you still getting involved in childish games like this, huh?" Jang Hun took off his glasses and put them in his pocket, preparing for a serious fight. Seeing this, Choi Chun-ho immediately realized this guy wasn't your typical gangster. So he decided he would teach this guy a lesson, that the underworld isn't as simple as he thinks. But before he could even get into a fighting stance, Jang Hun seized the opening and threw a punch. An uppercut straight to Choi Chun-ho's jaw. That was followed by a left hook to the face, and then a powerful knockout blow to the gut. This guy was using boxing to counter judo. After that barrage of attacks, it seemed Choi Chun-ho was quite overwhelmed. Seeing this, Jang Hun responded with contempt. "Old man, what the hell were you rambling about planning to teach me a lesson?" Jang Hun scratched the back of his neck disdainfully. "I don't even know who the hell you are. But more importantly, are you even skilled enough?" Jang Hun had been kicked out of the Fifth Army for violent and rebellious behavior. This proved that this guy was no pushover. Jang Hun's ferocity was clear in every single punch. Meanwhile, ISU was still struggling against Death Silent. That last blow from the guy just was making his arm go numb with searing pain. ISU felt as if his arm had been broken. He thought to himself, "I've already wasted too much time here. I can't let myself get pinned down here forever. I have to do something and fast." Across from him, the Death Silent member kept revving the engine and charged straight at ISU. The bike launched high into the air, aiming for an attack from above, its roaring engine tearing through the night. ISU realized it too. Facing a linear attack from the motorcycle boosted by its speed, he made a quick decision. He would strike directly at the bike's frame. But it didn't work. The bike landed quickly, and the rider used the iron pipe in his hand to smash it right into ISU, who was struggling desperately to block the blow with his broken arm. Every swing carried destructive force. He kept charging forward on his bike at incredible speed. It looked like the guy was going to ram straight into him, but suddenly he slammed on the brakes. Causing the bike to tip forward, he used the momentum to swing straight at his head. Now, not only was his arm injured, but his head was also bleeding. ISU remained standing in place. Counting that last one, that was the 5th time he'd taken a hit. The variables in his attacks just keep piling on top of each other, putting ISU in a tough spot. Chief Kang and the whole Direwolf team are on the move, yet here I am stuck. If this keeps up, the plan will definitely fall apart. ISU's gaze changed. He was more focused than ever. He told himself, ISU, you have to stay calm and be ready for anything. You have to observe your opponent carefully act in the most appropriate and optimal way. The next attack was coming. The Death Silent member screeched his back tire against the road to create smoke. Thick smoke and dust obscured his vision. The guy was trying to block his line of sight with all that smoke. This move was truly cunning and unpredictable. ISU was at a loss. Now he could no longer see where his opponent was. He's definitely going to charge in and attack. ISU wondered, is he going to attack me from the right or the left? Variables are things you can't completely predict or control. However, not all variables in a situation are bad. Behind ISU, someone approached with light footsteps. He fastened a button on his shirt, straightening it. Then he spoke, is this how a professional works? From what I can see, this doesn't seem very professional at all. A very familiar figure. The newcomer was Jin Young. Seeing him, ISU was completely stunned. He was about to ask why he was here when Jin Young cut him off. How about this? Would you like some help from this amateur? Jin Young's appearance was a ray of hope in ISU's desperate situation. Back to the situation in the Taizan Guild's territory. Jang Hun was getting a little fed up with Choi Chun-ho. He exclaimed, hey, old man, you're tougher than I thought. After getting his ass handed to him for a while, Choi Chun-ho was still standing firm. Jang Hun looked at the old geezer before him and thought to himself, how can a gangster be this strong? Dragging this fight out here is pointless. I have to end this quickly. But who would end whom was still up in the air. The moment he let his guard down, Jang Hun almost took a fist right to the mouth. Luckily, his reflexes were quick enough to dodge it successfully. Jang Hun found it completely absurd, that attack speed just now. It didn't match that body at all. This means... And strength isn't Choi Chun-ho's only strong point. The old man's speed is something to watch out for. Jang Hun realized that. He decided to keep his distance. But the old geezer, Choi Chun-ho, wouldn't allow it. Before he knew it, he was right in front of him. Lately, I've been in a pretty bad mood because the government's hunting dogs have started taking cheap shots at us. Gangsters. As soon as the words left his mouth, he threw a punch straight into Jang Hun's gut. The hammer-like blow sent Jang Hun flying backward. The punch was so powerful it lifted the guy clean off his feet. Jang Hun's face went pale. With no other choice, he pulled out his weapon to fight Choi Chun-ho. Before he could even slash a punch from Choi Chun-ho, sent it flying, and then Jang Hun took another fist right to the... Choi Chun-ho grabbed his opponent's face. Jang Hun's whole body trembled with fear. He tried to say something but couldn't, only managing to let out whimpers. Choi Chun-ho asked in a low growl, "Do we look like pushovers to you?" He said in a low voice. "Why are you looking down on us? You think you can actually beat me just because you're in bed with that snake? That cunning snake?" The more he spoke, the tighter Choi Chun-ho's grip became. Jang Hun crumpled in pain, his nose starting to bleed. If he didn't do something, his jaw would be crushed. No sooner said than done, he pulled a weapon from somewhere and aimed it straight at Choi Chun-ho, trying to stab him. But the plan failed. Choi Chun-ho caught the knife directly with his hand. Jang Hun's hand trembled violently, his eyes wide with shock. He never expected that the glove that guy Choi Ho was wearing was made from a bulletproof vest. Choi Chun-ho didn't care. The old man continued making sure this guy understood, people in our world, we aren't the cleverest bunch, full of tricks or schemes. The way we work is very simple. For family, for friends, and for the organization, those are the things we fight to protect. Choi Chun-ho's words, demonstrating the metal and code of the underworld. Choi Chun-ho unceremoniously threw Jang Hun straight to the ground. He splattered onto the pavement, lying there unconscious. The man was down for the count, yet that tough old geezer Choi Chun-ho didn't have a single scratch. A completely one-sided fight. But the battle on Isu's side wasn't going so easily. Jin Young saw him rotating his wrist and immediately understood. Is it broken or just dislocated? Isu replied, "I'm still okay. More importantly about the Taizan Association." Jin Young rolled up his sleeves and said confidently, "There's nothing to worry about. Taizan isn't something that can be taken down right now." And the results proved it. With just Choi Chun-ho alone, he took care of the entire Dai pack, and even the professionals mixed in with them met the same fate. Seeing Jin Young prepared to face an incoming opponent, who Isu was struggling to fend off, he warned, "That guy's a pro. He's not going to be an easy fight." But Jin Young didn't seem to care. Pro or not, it's all the same to me. Isu was still worried for a non-professional like Jin Young and continued to warn him, "You shouldn't face him without any preparation." Jin Young replied nonchalantly, "Why overthink things and wear yourself out?" Then he wrapped his jacket around his arm, preparing to fight the guy on the dirt bike. "If he wants a fight, I'll give him one. All I have to do is take care of him." The other guy wasn't intimidated by Jin Young. He charged straight at him on his bike at high speed. The screech of the tires was ear-splitting like a challenge. In that moment, Jin Young said to Isu, "Director back doggy." He told me this. No matter how big things get, so what? Because we're Taizan. And at that exact moment, the guy on the bike was right in front of him, still holding the iron pipe, but the one he was facing was no longer Isu, but Jin Young, the guardian of the Taizan Association. Jin Young braced himself and with all his might punched straight into the oncoming bike. The punch was so strong, it stopped the bike dead in its tracks, creating a horrific crashing sound. The pro Isu mentioned was sent tumbling along with his bike. Jin Young asked Isu, "So what did you think of that little show?" Even though we sometimes use Baek Do-gyung's methods to get things done this time, Isu stood silently behind him, watching his back as Jin Young declared firmly, "We have to become Baek Do-gyung himself right now." When the impact occurred, the motorcycle was sent flying backward from the punch, its front end smashed to pieces while the rider was thrown off, tumbling to the ground. Jin Young stood there for a moment, then spoke again. "So how was that? Even though we usually follow Baek Do-gyung's way to get things done this time, we have to become Baek Do-gyung himself." Isu looked at him stunned. Flashing back in time, a young boy was biting his lip, trying to hold it in. But tears were still streaming down his face. A voice called out, making him turn around. "Hey, Baek Isu?" This was 11-year-old Baek Isu. The other person stood with his hands on his hips and asked, "You're crying again." Isu quickly raised his hand to wipe his tears. Everything started that day. A boy in a martial arts uniform, his face covered in bruises, was lecturing while chewing on a meat skewer. "Didn't I warn you I'd beat you up if I saw you crying again?" This was 11-year-old Baek Do-gyung. Suddenly, Isu started sobbing again, tears streaming down his face, choked up and unable to speak. The class, they kept making fun of you, so I thought you were going to get hurt. We were twin brothers. But unlike me, my brother was stronger than anyone." After hearing this, Do-gyung held out the meat skewer. Isu shook his head. "What's with that?" As for me, I closed my eyes, pursed my lips, and shook my head. "Eat it." "I don't want to." Do-gyung grinned brightly and told his little brother, "Come on, just ignore them. They can all come at me. I'll take them all on, because this big brother of yours will never lose." But Isu thought to himself, at that moment, I started to hate having a brother like that. Sometime later, an urgent shout rang out. "Hey, Baek Do-gyung is in another brawl. In the schoolyard, they're ganging up on him like crazy. Dude, for real. Hey, move aside, quick. I want to see the fight." The students, seeing the commotion, Shen all ran outside to see what was happening. "Whoa, is he bleeding? If he's bleeding, that means he's lost, right? Hey, is that guy crying?" Crying means he's totally lost for sure, leaving only one boy, biting his lip and reading a book in silence. This is Chorong-ha Year 2 Class 4, 15-year-old Baek Isu. But the students watching the situation through the window kind of started pointing. "Hey, aren't those Baek Do-gyung's underlings?" "Oh yeah, that's them." "Wait a sec, what? Why do they look like they just got their butts kicked?" "Hey, look, right in front of them. It's Baek Do-gyung. Chorong-ha Year 2 Class 5, 15-year-old Baek Do-gyung." I still can't freaking believe it. You're the only one who dared to show your face. You're making me look like the bad guy here. Don't you think so? A big, shirtless guy appeared, cracking his knuckles with an arrogant look on his face. Seeing this, a student in the class shouted excitedly, "What the heck, is that a high schooler? No way. Is he some kind of professional fighter or something?" Lisu, who was reading, also noticed what was happening below. The high schooler stood with his hands on his hips, looking down at Do-gyung. "So I gave your little friends some advice, but I'm still not sure if it's been carved into their bones yet. Has it sunk in? Do you juniors get the picture now?" Do-gyung, still calm with his hands in his pockets, replied, "Senior, you've already graduated and moved on to high school. So why are you still hanging around this middle school dump? What the hell is going on in that head of yours? Or do I need to use something else to get through to you?" As he spoke, he gritted his teeth, glaring up at the senior. Seeing that attitude, the senior was displeased. "This little brat." Do-gyung turned back coldly. "Whatever. Follow me outside. No need for you guys to get embarrassed right here in the schoolyard." After that, the two sides faced off once again. Do-gyung raised a hand, signaling to his friends. "You guys stay out of it. I'll handle this myself. Even if you wanted to help, you'd just get in my way." The students watching him from upstairs were completely shocked. What, is he really going to fight all of them by himself? Holy crap, he's so cool. Lisu also came closer, looking down with a thoughtful expression. In another time, Do-gyung gritted his teeth, assuming a punishment posture in front of the seniors. "Senior, I offer you my sincerest apologies. I got too carried away and foolishly failed to show you the proper respect." The senior started to get flustered by this change in attitude. "Well, what's with this kid? Why the sudden change in attitude?" Do-gyung looked up with an admiring expression. "I heard you went on to high school. I really admire you for that, senior. You must be a real big shot over there, right?" Hearing that, the senior scratched his face. Well, yeah, I guess so." Do-gyung continued to flatter him. "You're truly amazing, senior." The senior then sat down, pushing Do-gyung's head down with his finger, looking pleased. "Hey, you little smooth talker. I think I'm starting to like you, kid. I was planning on beating you to a pulp, just like your friends. All right, I'm in a good mood, so I'll let you off the hook. But in return, I'll give your friends a good beating, okay? A little give and take, sound good, kiddo?" Hearing this, Do-gyung suddenly burst out laughing. "Ha ha, Then he took out a pen and clicked it. Damn it! Well, so be it. I was going to let you guys off by just obediently bowing my head. The senior backed away in alarm. What? Dokyung lunged forward with the pen, followed by a blood-curdling scream. My foot! The pen was stuck right in the instep of his foot. Dokyung took the opportunity to kick him back, cursing, "You sure talk a lot, don't you? You piece of garbage pig." Every morning, Ji-hoon delivers newspapers by jogging. So I used to tease him about his old-fashioned delivery method. But it seems he does it to financially support his little sister. At least he used to. Until you broke his left leg. As he was telling the story, another senior threw a punch at him. "What the hell are you rambling about, you bastard?" Dokyung dodged while continuing, and Seongguk recently. It seems Seongguk found a new hobby. He started helping his mom make kimbap since she runs a kimbap shop. He always brought kimbap to school. The kind that was always falling apart on one side. But now he can't make kimbap anymore, can he? I wanted Ji-hoon to introduce me to his little sister, and I wanted to eat Seongguk's kimbap with her. This really sucks. As he spoke, Dokyung looked up at the sky thoughtfully. On the ground, the senior was clutching his arm and screaming, "Ugh, my arm." Just then, the remaining high schoolers rushed in to restrain Dokyung, some grabbing his arms, another grabbing him from behind. Another guy threw a punch. Dokyung let his head snap back from the impact, but he quickly grabbed the guy's hair, and he continued. "And another thing. Our small naive Gusok. Why did you have to hit him in the head, huh?" Then he rubbed his cheek, gritting his teeth. "Ugh, my head. That must have hurt like hell. You bastards." At that moment, a shout rang out. "Everyone jump him all at once." Dokyung promptly raised a polite middle finger and cursed harshly. "You motherfucking dogs. Anyone who wants a piece of me, come and get it. I'll break every single one of your necks." Just then, Lee Soo appeared, thinking to himself, "I hate that reckless older brother of mine." The older brother. Oh, who can do the things I can't? He launched a kick and knocking away the guy restraining Dokyung. Dokyung looked over stunned. "Huh? Why are you—" Lee Soo gritted his teeth. I was jealous of my older brother. I wanted to be just like him." Just as Lee Soo took off his glasses, some high school kids showed up. They were completely stunned. What the Beck doggy? How are there two of them? Dokyung pushed the guy away and asked, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Lee Soo exclaimed, "Bro, well, it's like this. I don't think I'm cut out for studying at all, no matter how hard I try. I just can't cram any knowledge into my head." As he spoke, Lee Soo got into a fighting stance with an excited expression. Hearing this, Dokyung beamed and scolded, "You crazy nut job." Then the sounds of impacts mixed with the two brothers' conversation. "Hey back, Lee Soo, if you don't study, what do you plan to do with your life?" Lee Soo chuckled. "So what are you gonna do, bro?" Dokyung answered confidently, "Your big brother is going to start a business, you know. I haven't decided what kind of business yet, but I'll make you the president." After hearing that, Lee Soo asked doubtfully, "For real? Even now, I still want to be like my brother." Back in the present, the driver and his bike were sent flying like styrofoam. Just like that, he lay sprawled on the ground. Lee Soo clutched his arm and asked Jin Young, "What should we do now? I thought I could become Baek Doggy Young, but I guess I still have a long way to go." He covered his face, a little anxious. "Right now, I don't know what kind of person my brother has become. To you, what kind of person was my brother?" "Director Ha, can I really become Baek Doggy Ayon?" Jin Ayon replied thoughtfully, "I'll give you my answer now." Suddenly, he knelt on one knee before Lee Soo and declared, "As for the kind of person I think Baek Doggy Ayon was, I will turn you into Baek Doggy Ayon, the symbol of this Taizan group." Lee Soo was completely shocked. Suddenly, the sound of a single clap echoed. Choi Yeon-ho stretched, thinking with satisfaction, now their morale has definitely dropped. "My work here is pretty much done." Then he spoke up, "Aigu, I'm getting too old for this kind of thing. I should probably retire early." At that moment, CEO Lee Seung-min was sitting with his head in his hands, a thoughtful expression on his face. Back with Choi Chun-ho, he seemed to realize something was off and turned around. Looks like it's still too early for that. "Now then, you bunch of grunts, all of you come at me. Don't be such cowards, you young men." Just then, someone holding a sharp knife slipped past behind him. Over with Lee Soo-jin Young suddenly knelt on one knee before him and declared, "And I will turn you into Baek Doggy Young, a true symbol of the Taizan Union." However, he then stood up and turned to the side. He's still there. The guy on the motorcycle. He was trying to lift his bike up. Jin Young wondered, but who is he? Lee Soo was speechless. "You're asking now, after you send him flying all the way over there?" Jin Young replied, "Well, because he charged right at us, or he's one of your pro friends." Lee Soo quickly refuted, "No, I don't know anything, other than the fact that he's part of the US military." Just then the driver shouted loudly, "Hey, what are you going to do about my headlight?" Jin Young looked over at Lee Soo and asked, "Didn't you just say he was with the US military?" He's speaking Korean. Lee Soo looked ahead and remarked, "Today is definitely an interesting day." At that moment, the driver was holding a red iron bar, spinning it continuously. Seeing this, Jin Young stepped forward. "Whatever." He raised his fist. "I don't need to hold back, right?" The driver was about to rev the engine when his phone chimed with a message notification. Ding! He heard it and stopped what he was doing. He pressed a button to turn on his phone screen. A notification immediately popped up with a message, "Sendage orang. Received 20 million won retainer fee. Go to the location below. When you complete the mission, the remainder will be sent." After reading the message, the driver put the iron bar away, leaving the two men opposite him confused. He turned his front wheel to the side, but still pointed at Jin Yong and threatened, "You, the one who broke my headlight. I'll remember your face." After saying that, he turned his bike and sped off. Watching him go, Jin Yong spoke up. "He's gone." "I thought he wanted to go all out." Lee Soo replied, "He only does things for money." I can only guess that he's already completed his mission. Or he just got a better offer. The scene changes to a building. The room was too quiet. Someone pursed their lips nervously, including the subordinates of the Taizan Union Organization, Choi Young-jun, who had worked there for 2 years, and Lee Ayan-ho, who had worked there for 6 months. And the sharp vegetarian agents could feel it. Special Agent Oh An-shin, No Yang-subin, whose vacation was being postponed. At that moment, an ironclad fist was thrown. Choi Tron-ho threw the punch. It sent the newcomer reeling backward. After that, it was a battle they couldn't interfere in. And now, he had also taken a wound to his back, and blood was gushing out non-stop. This guy was no pushover. If I let my guard down, I'll lose instantly. But he must have been hurt by my attack. I have to end this now. Having made up his mind, Choi Jong-ho threw another punch. Yuri Eui-ong, startled, jumped back. "Ugh, just because you make a scary demonic face like that, it's not enough to beat me, you old geezer." Choi Jong-ho's expression grew worried. He tried to slide back, but it was too late. Yuri Eui-ong had already slashed him several times. Choi Jong-ho tensed up. "He's too fast. I was almost done for." The moment I blocked his attack, he followed up with another one. Where did this guy come from? I misjudged him. My defense isn't what I should be worried about. Yuri Eui-ong roared maniacally, "More, give me more." "Go on, try it again." As he spoke, he raised his two blood-soaked knives, his expression so demonic he looked like he could eat someone. Suddenly, he burst out laughing hysterically. "Ooh, ha, 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 ha. Again. That's Baek Yisu's line, isn't it?" Choi Jong-ho charged forward again using the second of the 9 blades. Yuri Eui-ong taunted him while dodging the attack. "Not like that. Again, come on." With his eyes blazing, Choi Jong-ho threw another critical punch. Gritting his teeth, Yuri Eui-ong swung his knife, thinking to himself that this was not an opponent that he could afford to hold back against. However, the blade of Ilhak's 9 blades stabbed straight into Choi Jong-ho's fist. I also believe that he cannot be defeated when he's protecting something. Yuri Eui-ong grabbed Choi Jong-ho's arm and spoke coldly. "Is this the full extent of your power? How pathetic, old man." Then he leaned back and forcefully broke Choi Jong-ho's arm. The old man gritted his teeth in pain. Seizing the opportunity, Yuri Eui-ong brought up his knee. Here again. Suddenly, a notification sound rang out. "All personnel, retreat immediately." The knee stopped right in front of Choi Jong-ho's face. Yuri Eui-ong turned, noticing the phone in his pocket. "What? The other party is requesting an immediate retreat for all personnel." He immediately questioned, "Why?" Then, seeing his men swaggering away, he yelled, "Hey, where the hell do you bastards think you're going?" Jang Hoon spoke up, "You damn fool, Georang changed the plan. We received orders to return. It seems there's a problem with the plan, so we're pulling out too. We're leaving now and following the chief's orders." As he was speaking, Yuri Eui-ong suddenly grabbed him by the hair. "Retreat?" he questioned, glaring. "Is that your hobby or something? Why do you keep spouting nonsense about retreating this and retreating that? You're starting to piss me off." Then Yuri Eui-ong let go. "But why are you so eager to leave? The fun is just getting started." Then he spoke into his radio. "Hey, Chief, this is bullshit. I'm bringing his corpse back this time. So just let me continue." Chief Jang replied from the other end. "Don't talk back. Meet us here now. Our chairman Tai Hee-yeon says he has a plan." Tai Hee-yeon, sitting next to him, grumbled, "Hey, Chief, it's a bit strange for you to tell me to stay here. We both know this. Looking at the bigger picture, I hate the Taizan group too. However, do you really think all our problems will be solved just by crushing them?" Why, he wore a sinister, calculating expression. "In that case, we'll have to use the law of the streets." Scene changed to Kyung-chun. He was struggling with his tie while munching on a pastry. "Why do I have to do all this?" "Hey, over there, help me a bit." Cyan turned to him, annoyed. "Oh, hey, Barros, come here." "Barros means parrot?" "Huh, what's a parrot?" Kyung-chun asked curiously. While tying his tie, Cyan explained, "It's something really cool and super strong." After hearing that, he said confidently, "Oh, then that's right. From now on, just call me Parrot." Just then, Cyan turned to Boris and reminded him, "Hey, Boris, don't bring your knife outside." "Damn it." Whatever. Boris, however, was happily admiring the gleaming knife in his hand. At that moment, someone appeared and walked in. Choi Jong-ho and Jin Yong turned to look at the newcomer. Kyung-chun and Cyan looked over cheerfully. The person exclaimed, "Wow, you guys are dressed up nicer than I thought." Yisu walked in with his secretary and said cheerfully, "Looking over here, I get it now? So now we'll discuss this matter. Like true gangsters, where should we begin?" He sat down with a cold expression. Later, Choi Jong-ho went out to his car. He questioned, "After everything I've done to help the group, they're telling me to go home." Jin Yong stammered, trying to explain. "No, what Doggy Young meant was, if you want to leave, you can." He was just being impatient. Choi Jong-ho burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I was about to head home anyway. I'm so sick of the food here." Jin Yong hesitated for a moment. "Sunbae, I just wanted to ask if you can please stay with the Taizan Society a little longer." Choi Jong-ho clapped him on the shoulder. Then he said, "I know where this is coming from, Jin Yong. However, seeing the Taizan Society now, An idea has popped into my head. It's not too late for us, and Ilhak can rise once again. As he spoke, he gave a confident and hopeful smile. So I have to go back there. Back to my home. Back to Ilhak. A bald, crimson-skinned man glared and questioned, "You lost. Don't you realize who you just picked a fight with? This is the Ilhak Nine Blades headquarters, Dogo, Yangjin, the fourth blade. Do you think the Nine Blades will just let this slide?" At that moment, he was kneeling amidst a group of brutally beaten people in a chaotic underground space. Guangpan was unconscious on the ground, and beside him, Diobi was lying face down. Yangjin demanded, "What bastard sent you here?" Just then, Yuri Aeon and the man carrying the iron pipe appeared. Tai Hai Eon suddenly showed up, placing a hand on Yuri Aeon to stop him. "Damn, you've aged way too fast since the last time I saw you." Then he looked down at Yangjin below, grinning. "It's been a long damn time, hasn't it, my beloved Sunbai?" Back in the past at the IH headquarters, a voice rang out. "This is the money we earned this month." "Seems like it's less than last month, huh?" Sangbin remarked while looking at the ledger. Yangjin, standing beside him, accepted the blame. "It is my fault, young master." Saemin replied, "No, not at all. This is also partly due to my carelessness. More importantly, are you feeling okay?" Guangpan, one leg in a cast, propped up on a table, laughed excitedly. "Ha ha ha! Of course, young master, this is nothing." Sun Mong, with one arm in a cast, chimed in with a smile. "I'm fine. But I don't think this guy feels the same way." As he spoke, he poked Guangpan's leg, making him clutch it in silent pain. Saem Bin also spoke up. "You're very diligent, for a boss who doesn't even know how to throw a punch." Suddenly there was a loud noise. At that moment, Yutrang turned and said, "I'll go out and see what's going on." Ilhak Clan Nine Blades headquarters. Li Jutrang, the ninth blade. He opened the door and stepped out to ask, "What the hell is all this, huh? Someone give me an explanation." The guards on duty turned and replied, "Sir, it seems the noise is coming from the floor below." Another person turned and said, "Isn't that a motorcycle? This is the third floor." Suddenly the man's expression turned to shock. Looking down, he saw the club-wielding biker speeding up the stairs, the front of his bike aimed straight at the three of them. They were all completely stunned. Then he crashed right through their door. Sunmong and Diobi were startled and looked out as the biker charged in, swinging his iron pipe ready to strike. Diobi couldn't dodge in time and took a blow straight to the face. Blood spurted from his mouth. The Nine Blades were caught completely off guard, even though they were veterans who had been through countless life or death battles. Like former boxers, they were always ready for any situation, using their past skills and experience to face their enemies. However, a completely new type of opponent had emerged. One they could never have imagined. For the Nine Blades, this was stunning, and it ultimately became their greatest obstacle. Panicked, Sun Mong raised his casted arm to block a swing from the iron pipe. The biker casually rode in circles around the room, and everything began to get destroyed in the chaos. Sun Mong was bewildered. "We're still injured." Just then a group of people walked in, a group dressed in black. The biker turned to look, and as soon as he saw the insignia on their clothes, Yangjin shouted, "Freeze, you bastards! You're Geljiang's men, aren't you? You're violating the truce agreement. Do you want to make an enemy of the entire council?" Just then a man in black glared. "What the hell is this old geezer rambling about?" Another one shouted to his comrades, "Brothers, clean him up for me!" Guangpan decisively threw off his leg splint and launched a kick at the biker. "You son of a bitch. Who the hell do you think you're messing with? I'll purge every last one of you, Ilhak Nine Blades headquarters." Choi Guangpan, the seventh blade. Although his foot was still swollen, he managed to support his body. Yangjin was extremely worried. "Damn it. Guangpan's injury is still..." Just then the biker charged towards Sun Mong. Yangjin rushed over, grabbed him by the collar, and pulled him out of the way, shouting as he threw him. "I have to at least beat that biker to a pulp, Sun Mong. Go protect the young master." Sun Mong staggered and replied, "We'll hold them off." Diobi, his face now bruised and battered, still managed to grab onto the biker to hold him back. "Yangjin, you can't do this alone." "He won't be alone." Boss Yangjin smashed his face in. Ilhak Nine Blades headquarters. Yang Diobi, the eighth blade. The biker froze and looked in his direction. Yangjin launched a kick at the biker's head, but his helmet blocked it. Ilhak Nine Blades headquarters. Dogo Yangjin, the fourth blade. Yangjin took the opportunity to catch Diobi, reminding him, "Quick, protecting the young master is the priority," Semin said frantically. "Let me help." Just then, a man in black took a blow to the face, his features twisting. Guangpan was protecting Saem. Minan turned back to say, "I'll let you have this one." Guangpan, sweating from his wounds, said confidently, "Don't worry, I'll handle it." Zaimin was panicking. "Udo, just let me stay." But his expression remained determined. At that moment, Sun Mong was already pulling Zaimin towards the car. "Get in, young master." Zaimin was horrified. "What are you doing?" "We have to fight alongside them," Sun Mong warned him gravely. "Bangeorang has already made his move. That means we're in danger." Zaimin stubbornly retorted, "That's exactly why I want to stay. Running away alone is too humiliating." Suddenly, Sun Mong became somber. "Young master, if you fall, everything we've built will be for nothing." Zaimin challenged him. "So you want me to run away like a coward no matter what happens? Is that it, huh? Even if it means leaving everyone to die?" Back in the present inside YH, all of the Nine Blades had fallen. Only Yi Yangjin was left struggling on one knee as that bastard Taehi Young looked down on him. He let out a mocking sneer. Well, So this is how YH collapses, is it? I was expecting so much more than this. I wonder what little corner our dear young master is hiding in now. At that moment, the car carrying Zaimin was speeding down the highway. He sat in the back with his head down and asked, "What if I'm the only one who survives? I tried so hard to rebuild YH from the ashes, and in the end, I've lost it all again." Sunmong didn't know how to comfort him. "Young master, well," Zaimin shouted angrily, "don't call me by that name. How much longer do I have to be the young master? Am I not the boss of YH? Sunmong replied, "That's not what I..." Suddenly, a streak of red light flashed past the car. The driver of the other car sped up ahead of them and simultaneously dropped something. Instantly, iron spikes scattered across the road. Startled, Sunmong yanked the wheel to avoid them, and the car swerved, sharply crashing into the guardrail. Zaimin, his face pale, braced himself against the seat. "What was that?" he yelled in a panic. Sunmong, his head now bleeding from the collision, opened his door as he replied, "This is as far as I can take you. To the place where you will lead. I believe you already have your answer." As he spoke, he held up a hand to shield the stunned Zaimin from the rain. Sunmong gave a gentle smile in the downpour. YH's 9 blades, Lee Sun, Mong the 6th blade. He wiped the water from Zaimin's face as he continued. "That is everything you need to understand right now." Zaimin began to run through the heavy rain. "You are our boss, Chairman Seomin. And we, the 9 blades, are the sword of YH, and we are your sword." When he could run no longer, Zaimin collapsed to his knees in despair on the rainy pavement. As curious passers-by stared, he remembered Sunmong's words, "It doesn't matter how humiliated you feel. You are YE. Of course the decision is in your hands." Zaimin struggled back to his feet and continued onward.